Hello and welcome to the Frontend Horse live stream. How is everyone doing? We got some fantastic people in chat. Debbie's here. Debbie is already pumping her fists. Debbie, you are fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I know you're feeling under the weather. I know you've been like napping and trying to feel better. I am beyond humbled and just so thankful that you pulled it out. I told you do not get to cancel. You begged, you pleaded, and I said, you signed a Calendly. That is a binding document. And so you got ready and you're here. So I really appreciate you.
I know. And I even stuck that thing up my nose to make sure, I don't have COVID. It's just another kind of virus. I'm okay, but I can't contaminate you. So we're all good.
That's what chat was worried about. Chat was about to leave unless you were like, is she good? Are we going to catch this? No, we're good, chat. She's just a normal kind of under the weather sort of thing. But seriously, I really appreciate it. Debbie, I know that you are, I think one of the most energetic people that I've ever seen, honestly. Like your passion about what you do, your enthusiasm is so contagious. That even Debbie on like a sick down day is I'm excited about Bit because of you. So I'm it's gonna be a very good episode. So I clearly know you, but for people in the chat who might not know you, who's Debbie O'Brien?
Well, it's me. Yeah, so I am Debbie O'Brien. I work at Bit. I'm the head developer advocate. Some people know me before from Nuxt. I used to be the head developer advocate there at Nuxt. And I've basically just been working in open source for the past couple of years. And I'm just trying to share my knowledge with the world and help the people get into web development, make the web faster, more performant, and just make the developers' lives easier. I think that's always been my goal. If I work at a company, it has to be for a reason that it's going to be good for a developer, not just to make money, but developers' lives should be easy. And that's what Nuxt was about, right? You're building a Nuxt application, your life's going to be easy. And Bit, it's the same. If you're going to work with Bit, sometimes you're going to have to learn a little bit first, but then your life is going to be easier. And that's the whole thing. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I live in Mallorca. So it's really hot, but it's okay. I can't complain. I can go swimming every day and, but I have to get a plane to leave the island, which I haven't done in a long time. So that's the downside.
It's an island.
And
see,
it's an island. I live in Mallorca. Oh my God, you didn't know that?
I don't know what Mallorca is. All right, that word means
paradise.
Okay, that word means nothing to me. You forget that I'm American, and my geography skills are just the worst.
Let me put this in American terms.
Please.
I can get on my bike and I can cycle to the end of the island.
So you've already lost me at biking. Can you talk about like a Ford F-150? How do I get in my pickup truck now? That's amazing though. That's incredible. So yeah, I know you're very into cycling, so that must be perfect, right? Like just being able to cycle around the whole island. That's incredible. I'm gonna have to look this up after the stream. This is so cool. But yeah, I originally knew you as the Nuxt person, and then you go to Bit and you start learning all about. We got some confetti. That's our. They did some bicycles for you, so did some bicycle confetti.
Thanks.
You went to Bit and all of a sudden you start learning React, and now you're pretty dangerous with React and Vue, and I'm blown away. It's just super cool that you can switch gears and pick something up, and we're going to be working in React today. The fact that you can go on a live stream with someone and build something out with them in a new framework is just awesome. So
yeah, but Alex, let me be honest here. It was very hard changing frameworks. It doesn't mean like I'm a genius and I can go from one to the other. I had to study and learn a lot, and it was not easy. And I'm not there yet. I've only built one React hook in my life, so I'm not a React expert, right? But I can do the job, so that's all that matters. So yeah,
I love that kind of honesty, and I love that you were doing it in public and not pretending like, oh yeah, it's just really easy for me and I just pick it up and I'll like the fact, like I saw you tweeting about it and talking about like how you're digging into it today, and yeah, I love that learning in public kind of mantra, and yeah, it's just awesome to see you switching gears. That's a bike pun for you. That's a little bike humor. No. But yeah, so we're gonna be working in React today. But before we get into it, I just want to share real quick with everyone your personal site. Yeah, and V Prevail says the struggle being real makes everyone feel better about themselves. Like, yeah, like it's you being genuine and you showing those like, oh, this is I've been at it for weeks and weeks and weeks, but I'm still just okay at it, right? Like that's
Yeah.
awesome, and the fact that you're willing to come on and continue to learn in public, I think is super cool. So give Debbie a follow if you aren't following already. But we're going to be talking about Bit today, and could you kind of I've been explaining it myself, and I'm sure I've been conflating or just saying things wrong a whole bunch. So do you want to kind of explain to us what Bit is? Yeah.
No,
Are we
let
saving
me.
this for
I
later?
want to hear. I want to hear your explanation, and I'll correct you. Go on, hit me with it. What do you
Oh,
think Bit is?
oh boy. I got a phone call. Oh, hold on. That's my mom. I gotta take no. All right. So, what I think it is, and we can go from there. It says run. Just need the handkerchief. So what I think it is kind of a I'm thinking that it's some kind of a library or way of working that allows your components to be reusable in a way that they wouldn't be without Bit. And I can't like picture those details exactly, but some kind of API that you follow when you build your components that allows you to easily kind of plug them into the Bit ecosystem and share them between projects and even between people. Because it seems like when I've checked into it, I can kind of go and take components from there and use them in my projects that like maybe you have created. And it's kind of like, is there maybe a marketplace aspect to Bit in that kind of sense? I don't know. That's the sense that I've gotten from it. But it seems like it's all about components and making components sturdier, more not more robust, but more easily reusable. So that's my
So you nailed it at the end. It's
okay.
all about components, right? And
Yes.
that's what it is. It's all about components.
If you talk for
Um,
long enough, you're gonna get it around there somewhere.
yeah.
See how I just did a 3-minute monologue? Nailed it at the end. There we go.
Yeah, so we are actually working on a new website, which I'm actually building, and I'm going to start streaming it very soon so that people
Cool.
can watch me build it out. So we're building the new website, and we're kind of like building new docs as well. So obviously, since I've been on board, we've been putting a lot of work into trying to get our messaging better. So excuse the messaging if it doesn't get out, because sometimes it's like, it's hard to explain something, and we're trying to do a better job of that, but that's coming. So the best way to explain it is what you said. Bit is all about components.
Okay.
Let me put it in a different way. You have a website. This website, Alex, no, it's Frontend Horse, right? Is your
Yep.
website, right? Just like my website is Debbie.codes. Now, when you built your website, I built my website. We build an application, and we build components inside the application, right? Correct?
Yep.
And what happens if you wanted to build another website? Then you get a new website, a new application,
yeah. Kind of start from
and you
scratch
start
then,
building
or
those components
start
again,
copy
right?
pasting
And
stuff over
copy
and
pasting. Yep.
yeah.
And that's kind of good. You could probably get away with it, because maybe you don't want to be kind of like similar. And then all of a sudden you've got to do another website. And now you've got the third website, and you're going to what? Build another application and copy and paste those components over, right?
Right.
And now you have like 3 applications you got to maintain, and you got to maintain all the same components ish. Some of them are different, but some of them are same.
Right.
And now you're kind of thinking, I really need like maybe a component library or something. So now you start putting that up in NPM, and then you start like downloading a component library into all your applications and maintaining that. And then, but you don't need all those components in this application. You only want 2 components. And now you got to update one component, and how is that going to update across the other ones? Now you got to download, and you've got this whole mess going on, right?
Yeah, it's a lot to
And that's
manage.
basically, yeah, and that's what when I was working in other companies, I've had this problem. I've dealt with this problem many, many times. I've built that component library. I've shipped it to NPM. I've done all that solution. I've built a shop for people to see what components are available and to help them to try and use those components. And it's all a mess, right? What we do in Bit is the component is first. So
Okay.
imagine kind of almost as if every component was a Git repo without having to maintain it as a Git repo, because that would be so like, oh my God, that's too much work, right? But every component is like a Git repo, which means it's individual, it's on its own. So it means it can just be used anywhere,
Got it.
right? And it's got everything it needs in order to be like completely independent. So when we build components with Bit, what Bit will do is it will create a package JSON for you. So you don't have to maintain a package JSON. It will do that automatically for you so that when you do export it to the Bit cloud or to NPM or to your self-hosting or wherever you want to host it, it's got its package JSON. It's got everything it needs to be an independent component, module, whatever you want to call it, right? And it
Huh.
can then be reused anywhere. Now, Bit also controls the versioning. It controls its dependencies. It's got a dependency graph. It checks what dependencies are needed. It pulls those in. You can then update one component. And if you're like working all your components in one workspace, we call it, right? Which is like, say, one repo, it will propagate and update all the components that it needs to update if it's in
Got
that
it.
one place, right?
Yeah.
If it's in another application, then you have to kind of say, oh, do I want version 2? Because Alex created version 2 of a button and I might not like version 2. So I might decide, nah, he did a terrible job. I don't want version 2. So I can decide not to include version 2, right? And I can,
Got it.
change and go to version 3 because I didn't like version 2 and I discussed with you, hey, fix that, it's terrible. And then you create version 3 or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. A couple of other things you can do, which makes it very good for working with teams, is you can get a component. So me and you are now working together, and you're building, for example, the base components, and I'm building the commerce components, for example.
Okay.
And you go on holiday because you're allowed to go on holiday, and there's a bug in that button component, for example, and I need to fix it because otherwise nobody can purchase anything. So we've got a big problem going on here. I can actually just import the component into my workspace, modify it, export it, and then eject it out of my workspace because it doesn't live there.
Huh.
I know, that's so cool. It's like, wow.
Wild. Wow. Okay. This is reminding me a lot. I mean, first off, that's super cool. We've got a lot of questions and comments in the chat. Have you used like Figma components or I always forget if there's symbols or components in Figma or Sketch, but like
Yeah.
I've seen similar things where Figma kind of goes like, this component has changed. Do you want to update it within this file? So like I haven't used Bit. I've used NPM packages the way you're describing them. And I've always
Mhm.
preferred the Figma workflow to that. This sounds like the Figma workflow for components. And sorry, that's just like what I'm familiar with. But for
Yeah.
my actual components in React, and that sounds fantastic, where I get to like have that one source of truth, but only pull it in if needed, and have each of those things kind of stand on their own. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, you can choose to, like, there's a new version. Do you want to update? And you can actually, we have like in the CLI some tools where you can bring in that component, test it out locally, kind of say, oh, wow, yeah, that looks great. And then accept those changes or
Cool.
not accept those changes. So there's a lot of cool things. And there's even more coming in the pipeline that hasn't been released that I've seen and that I have access to and no one else has access to.
All right.
And
No
it
one's
just makes you
watching.
go, wow.
Just let me know what. I'll mute it now. So Cuss Camera says, do you think it's better to publish a component library as a single npm package or one package by component?
So I would say not use npm and use Bit because that's gonna Bit's gonna take care of all that for you. And this is the difference. Now, I have an article out there about publishing to npm and not using the Bit cloud, which you can do completely yourself. You can self-host. When you publish them to npm, you can use them on npm. I have some components on there. Don't look at them. They're terrible. They're just test components. But the thing is, you can never find them, and they don't give this nice kind of easy way for a user to see your components. So yeah, I don't know if, let's have a look at not the node components because they have no, let's go, just click on the team bit one,
Okay.
not the
So
Harmony, click on
so
team
this is
bit.
kind of that like shop
Yeah,
interface thing where I get to go through and browse different components.
exactly. And let me see if I can actually give you one that's even better and I can show you a better one. If you go to learn bit react instead of team bit, just go up in the top in the browser and just put learn bit react.
Uh, like
Learn
that?
dash bit dash react. Yeah, with
Got it.
dashes, sorry.
No worries.
I think that's what I called it, but I have to see my memory gets it right. Yeah, so this is what I created, right? So this is an easier, this is my demo projects. And if you click on the scopes, for example, just up at the top, a little bit, just go up and
Scopes,
just,
cool.
yeah, in the menu. So the
Okay.
scopes are like, these are like my repos, right? So I've got
Right.
a base UI repo with components in there. I've got a data fetching one. This is just a small example. I've got an e-commerce repo or scope. I've got a shoe store, a perfume store, electronic store, a sports store, and I've got a Figma example, which is just another repo with an example of Figma. So if we click on, let's go to the shoe store.
Cool.
I'm not a big fan of shoes, just the shoe store seems to be the best one going at the moment. So we can also build apps in Bits. You can actually build your app directly here, but you could also just build it here, and then you could also just take the pages and import them into Next.js. Or I know, Alex, your face is just amazing. I love it.
My face hides nothing. If I'm thinking, you know it. Yeah. I'll not cut you off because you're yeah, I feel like there's way more to Bit than I realized. The fact that you just said that I can build apps in Bit, I was just like, that broke my mental model of what Bit is. So I'm even more excited now. So let's keep
Yeah,
going.
I mean, we're still working on the app parts of stuff, but
Okay.
obviously I built an app here, and you can, so it is working, but I haven't documented it fully.
Got
But you
it.
can see it with this example. So if we like, these are just components there on the left hand side, right? They're split up into the shoe store. The jigsaw puzzle is like an aspect, and that's the app application. And then entity components are your like JSON, like your data models. So you can share this with the backend. So for example, yeah, go to the shoes one, click on the shoes one, and over on the right hand side, just scroll down a little bit. You might want to get rid of that kind of bar that says try out Bits new generation. It always gets in my way.
Oh,
The
that. Got it.
top, yeah, just get rid of that. And then you see the code brackets. They're really hard to see, but the code brackets over on the left.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the
Okay.
code. You can see the code. And if you go to the actual shoes mocks TS on the right hand side, we have the menu.
Got it. Shoes,
Yeah.
mocks, TS. Got it.
So that's my mock one, right? That's just
Right.
like, your usual
Yeah.
JSON. And if you go to the shoes.ts,
Just let me
you'll
just make
see
sure
how
chat
that's,
can see this. There we go. Shoes.ts. Cool.
and this is like how we're basically saying, this is like what I want to get back from the back end. This is the data I want to use. And then you can make sure that that data from the back end, from the front end is the same. So you're not going to get any issues.
Got it.
And you can actually see this one because this one is actually importing the product from the e-commerce. So it's taking the e-commerce's entity
Oh.
and it's expanding on it, because all my stores have a basic kind of product information, but the shoes need a shoe size and they need available colors. But the headphones didn't need a shoe size, so they needed a title and a description and an image, but they didn't need a shoe size. So I have one in
Got
e-commerce
it.
that then gets expanded here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's making a lot of sense. Yeah. So I am getting that. I'm understanding. Yeah. So you're importing this product to use in many different places, but because this has those specifics that all products are kind of going to have, right? Like you always have those
Yeah,
like shoe size isn't a thing that you would apply as a field on all products, but you definitely need it here. And so you're able to
exactly.
extend product, but still have it in one place.
Exactly. As a
That handy
component,
way.
as a shareable component that's installed.
Yeah.
So you can see that this is using this component, it's importing it as if it was an NPM package, right? And at Learn Bit React e-commerce entity product. So it's importing that, and that component of the entity component is now part of this shoes component. It relies on it. It depends on it. So it's there. And
Got
we
it.
could probably, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and
So
it's starting to click for sure.
yeah. So we've gone very deep like straight away. So as you can see, we don't just build in React. We can also share Node.js components. So it's not just a UI component marketplace, right? If you want to
Cool.
call it marketplace, it's got a lot more. So I want to
Got
show
it.
you, if you click on the shoe store, for example,
Shoe
at
store.
the very
Where's that?
top, the
Ah,
jigsaw
thank you.
puzzle. So
Okay.
this is basically like, this is the documentation you get. So every time you build a component in Bit, you're going to get like a documentation page which uses MDX, and then you're going to have like a composition page. So you're going to see like this, like how beautiful is that?
Oh,
Like, come
this
on.
is. I thought this was an image. I thought this was one
This is
big
the
image.
application.
This is the app. Oh wow. I was like waiting for this component picture to be done, but this is the full app. Wow.
This is the full
Okay.
app. And you can click on the compositions tab just beside the overview. So this will just show it in, because one is built in MDX and this is just in its own. So you have like a little kind of squarey kind of hashtaggy thing just above on the left.
Here, the highlighter.
Yeah. So if you click on that, and you
So
can
this
actually
is
highlight, you can see where the components are made up and where they're coming from.
making it a little bigger for chat so they can see. Yeah.
So
Wow.
you can see this is coming from the base UI. That's the image component. The card component is coming from, I think it's coming from e-commerce, if I remember correctly. Base
The
UI is
card
from the card,
component is coming
is
from base
from
UI.
base UI. So if you ever are wondering where that card's coming from, you can just inspect it and you can see it, and then you can kind of like find it easier.
Yeah. Wow. Who on like a team do you picture going into this kind of thing? Is this primarily for developers, or is this also for like designers or editors? Like who all is like is the demographic that you are trying to hit with this tool? I'm just curious.
Everyone really, but
Okay.
if you want, open up another tab. So we can leave this open
Okay.
and we'll just jump, just so we don't have to reload things. And just copy and paste that same link, and then go back to, just click on Learn Bit React. So we're back to the base, all the
Cool.
projects. And let's click the scopes.
Yep. And scopes is where, well, like, excuse me.
Collections. Let's call it like a collection
Okay.
of components.
Okay. Got it.
So
I
click on the
thought
Figma
that's
example.
okay. This is making sense now. Got it. I thought it was dependent projects, but it's not, because this is the team and this is the project, right? Like Learn Bit React is kind of the
is
team.
the organization. The organization.
Cool.
And
Okay.
and the other one could be the team. So it could be the e-commerce team. It could be the base UI
Okay.
team.
Got
the
it.
design team.
Got
And
it.
they all
Okay.
work for the organization of, I mean, Learn Bit React is not a great organization name, but
All
it
good.
just makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, it's all good.
So yeah, this one is let's go to the card component.
Okay. I love this documentation, by the way. Like, is a lot of this out of the box, basically? Like,
yeah. So here you can see I've got my Figma embed there,
nice.
right? So we're able to embed Figma right into the design. So if the designer updates anything, we see it live.
Cool.
And that means the designer can come along and check the design against the composition of the component and kind of say, hey, this is not the same as what I wanted it. Over on the right, you've got another card with copybox. You can see the other states of the component. This would be like, I know someone in the chat put earlier, what's the difference between Bit and Storybook? And this is kind of like Storybook has those great features,
different stories
about seeing it different states and different stories. You can use Storybook inside Bit if you wanted to. If you already had your components already created in Storybook, then you can just use Storybook in Bit. You don't have to. Storybook can give you those extras if you need them, which is great. So you can use that, but there are a lot of differences because we do all the kind of what do you call it? Like all the deployment of your components, your packaging, your dependencies, which is what Storybook doesn't do. So if you kind of like you need Storybook plus something else to be able to try and do what Bit does, right?
Got it. Yeah.
They're your main differences.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, this is a product manager could come along and use this, because remember, if you're going to export those components onto like a big cloud, for example, or your own hosting, they can come along and they can check and kind of bypass the see if everything's okay, right? See if
Right.
everything works the way it is, if it's done, the job is done or not done, etc.
Absolutely. Cuss Camera says, from this composition, could you try a component in a different version? For instance, hey, I want to try UI/text and it's 0.92 version. I think that was like the
Yeah,
main. Or
yeah.
yeah.
Let's go back to the shoe store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go back over on the well, let's just do it from here,
Okay.
right? So over on the beside the use button, you've got 1.0.12, and on the right, over on the right, over on the right.
Getting
Yeah,
there. Here we go. Okay, cool.
yeah. So if you go down to like one of the much previous versions, it might get really ugly, so be warned. Click on that.
Oh.
Right. So that was the first version.
Got it.
So you could actually you can see every version in its actual state. You can see the actual, like here, look at the sizes. Look where I put them here.
Right.
And I didn't have that available colors. The card is completely different here, right? So you can see not just the composition, you can see the documentation, the tests, everything. This is its actual state. So you can use
Cool.
that version if you wanted to. You could install that version and use that one in an app. And we could have like 5 different apps with different versions if you wanted to. So at all times you can check different versions. You can go back and you can see different versions at all times. You can even see a change log actually.
Got it. I think what Camera was asking was specifically about the about like I want to see this layout with UI text 1.00 or something like that. Is that a possible thing here, or?
So what you do when you update the UI text, because the app uses that UI text, it's now going to update the app because the app needs a new version to be able to use that one. So at one
can we roll one back to the previous? I mean, like, can we see? I don't want that one.
Yeah, so you'd have to go to like, if you go to the change log, we might be able to see if I did it properly. On the right hand side, there's a clock, kind of like a timer.
Cool.
Yeah. So this is gonna like see all the things I did, minor improvements, Figma, improved colors, and then you can kind of see what version was that. So you'd have to look at the changelog to see which version of the app was when that UI text was updated.
Okay. Interesting.
If the developer properly puts a comment in and actually says,
updated this one, updated that one, kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, so it's like, more on the developer to put it in there.
Yeah, and otherwise you can actually just like take another version and do that. But this is the exported one. Cool. So when you're exported, you have to go with how I've updated it. Another thing you can see is the tests, right? If you click on the tests button.
Oh.
This component has no tests, right? Because it's an app, which makes sense. Yeah. But if we go to the shoes card,
shoes.
You should have shoes at the bottom. Yeah. So this one should have tests, right? It should render with the correct text. Now, obviously, that's not a great test, but I mean, you could do more tests and stuff.
I could extrapolate that this can run tests, and so the sky's the limit kind of thing.
Exactly. Now, if you click on dependencies, you'll see all the dependencies that this card uses.
Oh, that's really nice. Will this only track like bit style dependencies or like component dependencies, or will this also track like if it uses moment.js or something?
No, so it's just like component dependencies, like the heading says, component dependencies.
See, reading, you're giving me too much credit. Give me too much credit.
Cool, so yeah, from there you can see like every single component that's being used. You can also see like non-runtime dependencies as well. So you can kind of really see who's using what's using, and so you can see here this has other things.
Got it. Oh, and
that
here's like styles and colors. So like I can have my CSS versioned and bring it into my components and then change it and then do that same kind of
Yeah.
workflow where it's like, do you want to accept these changes to the color package? And I say yes or no. Is that the same?
Yeah. So yeah, you could have like your like I've done this through the color palette, and my theme then uses that,
Oh,
and I
awesome.
think I did something. I changed like a button component, and had like the styles of the button component, so I could use it for a link and for a button, and you can share it across different ones.
That's great. That part is really exciting because like keeping themes across like design tokens across an entire
Hmm.
organization can be a not the
Yeah.
easiest thing, right? Like to have to check that into multiple files, or like yeah, like different projects to just kind of like keep updating that over and over and over again. I'm sure some people in the chat can speak to that better than I can. We have some design system engineers in the chat from time to time, so they definitely know the pain of
Cool.
that. So being able to just import that once, as a single source of truth is going to be fantastic.
I'm just seeing in the chat here. So bits like more like a whole infrastructure. I love that. That's nice. I like the sound of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's more than just like there's nothing to compare it to. You have to compare it to a load of different products together. So yeah, in a way, it's a whole infrastructure, has a lot of things.
that's cool.
Let me show you something else that
Cool.
I think you're going to be able to see. So if you go back to Learn Bit React,
All right.
and if you click on the scope graph,
Oh, scope graph. I see. I'm like, oh, that's the word, and I got click happy. I didn't wait to
people
keep
don't
reading.
read. People don't read.
Nope.
So yeah, that's it. So this basically shows you who's using who, right? And you can play around with these because they put them in it, so you can move them around. So you can see that like you know um, these are all what are connected. So the learn bit base UI. So you can like see that the base UI one is like the
The
basic one, right?
the
If you
center
can put it up
spoke.
the top, for example, or put it at the center exactly, and you can see then that the data fetching example is using that one,
Right.
um, just that one and no more, right?
Right.
You can see that the e-commerce is feeding, if you like, feeding all those shops
Yeah.
with the e-commerce components.
That one's over there.
And
The
then
shoe
you can
store,
see,
electronic
yeah, that,
store.
exactly. And the Figma example is just using, it's actually not even using anything else except base UI. It's pretty
Right.
simple, right? But you can see how now if you click on, actually just click it, you
Oh.
can, yeah, you can see how they're all connected, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Um, and you can see over on the right-hand side, you've got dependencies. And you've also got dependents. If you click the dependents tab, you
Got
can
it.
see that all these are its dependents. And if you can click on
Got
another
it.
one, click on e-commerce or
The
one,
scope
yeah,
has
click
no
on that one.
dependence. Yeah. No one's relying on this, but it's pulling
Exactly.
from
But
these two. That's such a
yeah,
nice way to have like an overhead view of your components, your different apps, all the different, especially V Prevails just asked about micro front ends, and I think like this is
yeah.
a key tool for that sort of setup. I want to see what they say. Are the examples on how it can help with micro front ends where it helps get multiple applications together? Oh, and then they say, let me phrase it differently. Are the components broader than UI? Could we also have the components as their own applications running somewhere on their own?
Um, yeah. So like the app, the shoe store is an app. It's an application, right?
Right.
Let me see, where is that in the chat?
The
Let me phrase
most
it. Are
recent
the
one.
components broader than UI? Could we also have components as their own applications running somewhere on their own? Yeah. So I basically created the shoe store with the shoe store specific components in that actual repo, and we can actually look at the repo if you like. I don't. If we click on the shoe store, so we'll just go back into like components, and let me see, or
Or
scopes. So
scopes,
go to
yeah.
scopes and go to the shoe store, and if I remember correctly, I created a README at the very bottom on the left.
Yes.
On the left, yeah. And this tells you about the project and how it's being used. and you can click on the GitHub repo. So if we go to the GitHub repo, you've got the shoe store, and this is under bit demos, right?
Right.
So you can actually click on the bit demos to see the actual repos, how they're split up, right? So you've just seen this in bit, but now you're seeing it in GitHub, how the base UI is in one repo, the e-commerce is in one repo,
Got
the
it.
shoe store is in another repo. They're all separate repos. Now the shoe store does have components in there and the application, but it doesn't have to have. I could easily take out the application, put it in another repo, and you can work however you want.
And you can make
It's up
that
to you.
dependency a bit longer, where like all your shoe store components live here, but the actual app lives here, right? So you could have
Yeah.
separated those two out, but they live together, and it's
Yeah,
a
actually,
decision.
when I first created it, I had it all in the one repo because I built it myself, and it was me as I'm learning React. This is me learning, and I built
Yeah.
this out, and it started as a really small, terrible project, and it started to get better and better with help, little help from my friends, and then I had this big mono repo kind of style with 4 applications in it, and
Mm.
it was like a nightmare, right? Because then other people started helping me on it, and then it's like, oh my God. So then we started to separate it and split it up. And the great thing about Bit is it's so easy to move the components.
Got it.
So I just have to tell the component that now you should go to somewhere else. And when I export you, you now go there instead of there. So
Really
I
cool.
could easily like really change it without kind of doing a lot of work, which is great.
Absolutely. So we got shoes index is got it. Okay, just exporting that. Then shoes card is the actual component itself. Is that? Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's the
so the way Bit
JSX.
works is that you need to have the components in a folder.
Okay,
Because we need to make it like a package, right? Like a module. So it needs
got
to
it.
be all contained. So that's something that people, will find different to working with Bit. You need to put it in a folder. So
Okay,
it's in this folder, and we have an index because you have to have an index that exports it, right?
right.
You could change the name and you can call it something else if you want to configure it differently. That's possible, but it's easier and simpler. Have the index that's going to export the shoes card and the shoes card props, right?
Cool.
And then the shoes card TSX is your actual component.
Right.
So you can see this is importing all the components that I'm using at the top. It's got all my props. If there's any React that's not good here, excuse my React skills.
No one's
There might be some
judging.
things.
All good. It looks great.
And then basically this is compiling those components together, composing them, right? To using the heading,
Right.
using the different components to make that product
Right.
card.
And they're all coming from different parts of different bit
Base UI and
repositories or
e-commerce.
kits.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you just use it like you would components, like you would something like Chakra, or we learned last week. You kind of have that same kind of thing where you're building out components as if they were being imported from some package, but these are all components that you've created and get to version control and keep elsewhere. That's awesome.
Exactly. And you could take components from someone else. So my components are open source,
Right.
they're public, and they're free. So you can actually take my components if you really like my skills and my beautiful work. You could say, right, I want that product card. I'm going to take that and use it in my application. And then, you can even then say, Debbie, I'm going to propose a change to it. And you could propose a change, and we could
Cool.
work as a team and make changes and stuff. But yeah, you can use the components, and anyone who wants to just take the components and import them and play around with them. Like the Bit Demos repo, that's all completely open source, completely free. So do play around with it and feel free to just,
Yeah.
Import them and see what it's like, right?
Yeah.
But just going back to where you were, there's a couple of other files in there that we'll just quickly look at.
Cool.
So you've got the spec file, right? That's your tests, right? So we're using Jest and testing library, as you can see, and you can just create your tests there and then.
Cool.
And you'll be able to see them in the UI, or you can run it in the CLI. You can run the test command in the CLI. You cannot export your components if the tests are broken.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
So it's protected, right? Obviously, there are ways to get around it. As always, you can ignore tests. You can do things.
I don't
but
think
the
there's
general
any way
thing
to
is,
ignore tests. I would have never done that in my life, Debbie.
but the general thing is that if you're gonna export something, those tests are gonna have passed. Otherwise, when you export, it's gonna say, oh, and I've done it so many times because I forget to check tests, and then I export it. I'm in a hurry, and it's like I want to finish up and export, and then it's like
Yep.
the test is broken. Like, oh my god! So it
Yep.
saved me so many times, right?
Nice.
So another thing then is the CSS. I'm just using CSS modules. You could use any CSS
Cool.
style you want. That's just your choice of how you do CSS. And then the other one is the docs file. So this is your MDX of your docs, and you can see in here how you should document your component. And obviously, you can be really lazy and write nothing, or you can write a lot of things. You can use the live playground, and you can play around with it. We should look at the live playground in a minute. Actually, we'll come back to that one.
Okay.
But yeah, the docs are there, and then the last file is your composition. So the composition would be possibly kind of like, storybook stories, right? This is how you can compose your component and see it in its different states, right?
Got
so
it.
I have one shoes card here, but I might have many.
I just want to see this one. So this is the compositions. So that's what that renders out, right?
Yeah, and this is quite a basic one, but if we go to the base UI and the button one, it's actually a lot more.
Base UI.
Click on learn bit React, and you can actually search as well in this profile. You could search for button, which is another way. And there's also Command K.
Nice, I love that kind of this. Oh, that's not right.
So if you click in base UI, open it up first,
and
then it should be Command K if you're on Mac.
Nope.
If you're on Windows,
I'm on Windows, so Control K is usually it, but that's fine.
Maybe it's Control K. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's all good. All good.
So go to the UI button.
UI button. Cool.
Yeah.
And compositions. Nice. So you got a hello
primary button. And now you've got the different.
Cool. Yeah, so this is definitely similar to stories in that way, and you kind of declare them similarly to how you would declare stories. So it's a very familiar kind of pattern. That's great. And so I assume it gets called a similar thing, like you just do basic shoes card, and then it will come up as that same sort of thing over there.
Yeah, so it would like this one. If you go to the overview page, you'll also see all the compositions. The overview is the docs page, but you can kind of scroll down and you can see I've got my Figma embed there.
And then you can put the
I've got all the
properties here.
compositions.
That's fantastic. Like, this is just such thorough documentation for components. I love Storybook. This is, that plus some, I feel like. Yeah, this is really great.
And if you go up a little bit, and you can see in the live playground.
Where's the live playground?
Yeah,
this.
Oh, just go down that one there. Use props to customize the text and variation. This one here. Right. So if you go in there, you can like put secondary instead of primary, for example.
What? Oh, that's wonderful.
You can change the text. There's not much going on here to change except the variation and the text, but you could put your name in there or something, and it just means you can kind of like see it live and play around with it. And that's a good way for like someone to come along and kind of suggest some changes and say, hey, I'm missing this from the API. Can you add something here? So this is a very like the base UI is very basic. So this card is just an outline of the card.
This is so cool.
If you go into the e-commerce one and go to the card, for example.
Okay, learn bit React, scopes, e-commerce. And then I would love to like dig in and get my hands dirty with this.
Yeah, let's just go to product card, for example.
Where's product card? Here we go, product card.
And you should be able to change more in here. I think I have.
Cool.
Oh no, this one's not working. Damn, that one's not working. Let's go to the.
Got it. No worries.
Go to the available. I'm not sure if there's anything interesting on available colors. No, this is just the grid that shows the card, so that's not much you can change. This one, yeah. So here you can put in the colors. So you can change those colors to whatever you wanted. For example, again, not too exciting, but you can kind of see.
Yeah,
you can see what I mean, right?
Aspect is so nice, and giving people that playing around to go in and test it. This also this also makes it clearer for non-developers, I feel like if a
Hmm.
designer can go in and see, oh, this is like the API, and they can test things for themselves rather than needing to message a developer and say, hey, can we put like a fourth color in there? They can go try it, and if they can, then we can, right? It's that sort of thing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. Question from Amit in the chat, and then I would love to make some
Start playing.
components and
Yeah.
ship my own bad components. I want to get
Okay.
my stuff up there. Amit says, I wonder how Bit will work in a large company with dozens of repos, multiple interfaces. Most of them need some sort of authentication, and dozens of teams running the UI. Is it ready for something like this?
Yeah. So great question. We're already working with large enterprises such as Dell, AT&T, eBay, and many, many, many more. And they are large scale with multiple applications. Um, Let me not mention the name of the company, but I'm going to say one of the companies, for example, had to change their logo. Um, and it took them 6 months to change the logo because their teams are so distributed, so many applications. And by the time they contacted this person to try and get them to go and change the logo, to change this, it was a 6 month job. And they said, we just want one component that has the logo, that if we change it, it gets changed on every single application. And that's when they came to Bit. And they've basically been building all their components now with Bit, and more teams are coming on board all the time. So is it ready? For sure it's ready. That's what it's built for. It's built for scaling. My demo project is a very small example. If you're working with the Bit Cloud, for example, that's where all the authentication is for being able to use different teams, different members of the team.
Cool.
So if me and you, Alex, are on the same team, then we have rights to be able to change each other's components. But if I'm not a member of your team, then I cannot touch your components, but I could use it in your company, for example. So it depends on how you set that up on your organization level. Dozens of repos. Yeah, at the end of the day, Bit doesn't care about how many repos you have because, like I said before, you can take a component and you can import that component into the repo you're working on and then just eject it when you don't want to. So you don't even have to care about where it lives. And you can see the use button. I'll show you that actually.
So sorry to interrupt, Debbie. We apparently got rated. My little notification thing isn't coming up. Bruno Simone just rated us. Wow,
Oh,
thank you,
nice.
Bruno, so much. I am assuming it's 1,000 people because Bruno always has like so many people there. Rate is broken just across. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay, so that's what it is. Sorry. It's not that my raid thingy is broken. Your raid thingy was broken, Bruno, and you had to tell people just to come here. You are a saint. To everyone who showed up, thank you so much. Not your fault at all, Bruno. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I mean, I'll take the blame. It's everything can always fall on my shoulders. I am so fine with that. Bruno, what were you working on? Were you working on the room build? Last I saw, I think that was last week. It is looking phenomenal. Really, a simple WebGL background. Awesome. The room is done. I've got to see it.
Blame-driven development. I love it. Blame-driven development.
Blame-driven development. That's my bread and butter. I need to get that trademarked. So cool that you rated us, Bruno. Thank you so much. So we are learning about Bit. I'm gonna butcher it again, Debbie, but basically it is
component-driven development.
Exactly, it's component-driven development. Allows you to neatly package up your components and have dependencies for your I'm going to do a bad job. I'm not going to waste our time. Debbie, Can you give them like the 30-second rundown of what Bit is? Just
30 seconds? Is that
that's it. And then I'm cutting you off. I'm going to mute you.
Yeah, so Bit is a way to build with components, being components as they're like a first-class citizen, so they're independent, which means they're kind of like, I like to think of them as Nux modules or as an NPM package on their own, that they can be shipped and then used in any application or any other component. So you can build components out of smaller components, which means they can be reused across, different applications. And Bit takes care of dependencies, versioning. You don't have to manage package JSONs or do any of that work because it's all done for you. And then you can obviously easily see which component is dependent on what component, who's using who, and basically like decide to update to the next version, etc. So it's just a much easier way to work with components and just like make components be first, build first components, applications come later.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and we were checking out this dependency graph for the base UI to the e-commerce, and then these stores that rely on the e-commerce package. Oh yeah, so yeah, like how the e-commerce package feeds components to these different apps, but the e-commerce package also relies on the base UI, so you can kind of like build these complex, ecosystems of apps and different packages, but not have to, as Debbie said, like update the logo in 30 different places or update the brand color in 30 different places. It's this nice way of building with components. So we're about to get into
and not just UI components. Remember that it's also CSS components, Node.js components.
Right.
You can have a toolbox with like JavaScript functions that are being reused, entity components, which we saw for the mock for the data from the back end, the front end, so the BFF pattern, etc. So there's like so many cool things. Yeah,
awesome.
It's endless.
Cool. Well, let's get into building with it. We
yeah,
say something?
I was just going to show you that one thing, wasn't I? I was going to show you very easily and very quickly. If you just go onto any component, whatever component you want.
UI pages. Cool. So
yeah, this one is fine.
Oh, okay.
And if you, it doesn't matter. It's all good. And you can click on the use box, the green use box.
Use.
The very top, top. Yeah.
Cool.
So this is how you would use it at Bit with npm with yarn. How you can actually just install that component. So you can actually open up your Create React app and you can just install that component and you'll get all that there and then, right?
Got it. Yeah.
And then the other thing you can do is, because you go back to Bit, is import, right? So only with Bit you can import. With npm, you're installing, like in an installer package. With yarn, you're installing, right? And with Bit, this is kind of confusing. I always find this really confusing because then you import in the React application, right? But with the import, Bit import is when you're taking the code and you're bringing the code in. So imagine an npm package and you take the code in out of the node modules folder and you put it into your actual workspace, into your actual application, into your repo. Now you have all the code files and you can actually edit those, and then you can make a new version of it, export the new version, and then you can say, you know what, I don't want this component to live here because it lives in base UI, right? I just needed to make a fix. And then you just eject, just go, get out of my life.
So that was the full context for when I'm on vacation and I'm in charge of that button. You can import it rather than install it, pull it in, fix it, and then eject it back up into where it lives. That's super cool. Yeah, okay. The importing bit, I've wanted that feature for a while in things. That's really nice to have, because the number of times I
did it years ago, right? Years ago, I've taken an npm package and then created that folder many years ago, and then you edit it, and then that calendar component is now yours because it's got your little tweaks to it, right? But then it can never be updated, right? Because now it's stuck on that version forever.
Yeah,
and that's the problem with that.
Yeah, exactly. Before I forget, shout out Bruno. Trying to type. This is not a good indication of how it's going to go later. But Bruno, thanks again for that raid. Super, super kind. You're always doing cool stuff over there.
Okay, so Alex, you need to do some work. Come on. Come on, get your hands ready.
I don't know how to work. I don't know. Cool. So we can go ahead and start a new project. Is that what I should do? Or
so I would open the documentation first.
Of Bit. Cool. Okay, so let's go back to. So just bit.dev, is that where we should start?
Yeah, you can find them from there, because we haven't released the new ones yet, because so Bit was created 7 years ago, and this new version is now about 6 months, about 2 years old, but 6 months ago we released it. Okay. So we want to go to the getting started. So we want to go to Bit Harmony, not Legacy, right? Legacy is the old one, and it's going to die. Sorry, but it's going to die. So the new one is
I have no attachment to it. It's fine. I feel nothing.
The new one is much better. Unfortunately, we don't have Vue support on the new one. So Vue developers, I know I'm fighting for it. I'm fighting all the time. We've just got Angular support in, and Vue is next, and then Stencil and a few others. But yeah, it's getting better and better, and the legacy one is unfortunately, yeah, death.
No worries.
Okay. So we want to install Bit, right? So you can watch that video if you want. It's a bit old now. I need to update and make a new one, but we will once the new docs are out.
Cool.
But we won't watch that because it's an hour long. So just scroll.
Yeah,
and we want
we are.
to
I'm making the call right now. We are not going to watch that.
We're going to install Bit using BVM, which is Bit's version manager. You might have heard of NVM, like Node version manager. This is Bit's version manager.
Okay.
So this is what we need to install. So that's the first thing. You can use npm or yarn, up to you.
Okay. Cool. Go for that.
And this will just basically install BVM.
Okay.
And then we use BVM to install Bit.
Got it. All right.
And
nice.
then that helps us to upgrade Bit, because at the moment we're actually pushing a new version of Bit every day. So we're working like nonstop and just like releasing stuff. Eventually we're gonna like slow it down and have it like a weekly release. But at the moment, because we're still officially in beta, like we can get away with kind of like just releasing every day and stuff.
Got it.
We probably shouldn't, but we do, you know, as you
That's
do.
cool.
But yeah, it's kind of exciting because sometimes like, you know, you'll come back like after 5 days of not working on Bit, and then like you've got all these new extra cool things, and it's like, wow, how did that happen?
That's yeah, that kind of app experience is really exciting when something's just starting out, and it's like it feels like you're shipping like every day. There's new changes and stuff, and then like the product gets mature and it has like 500 developers, and a feature ships like once every 6 months, right? Like it's weird how in the early stages of something, it feels like it ships constantly. So now BVM install.
Yeah.
All right.
So this should install Bit, and
I might be losing you a little bit, because it's
I always forget that when you're streaming, and installing and streaming is probably not the best thing to do.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, we should have thought about that. Sorry.
All good.
So sorry, users. Yeah, but like anyone at home can actually do this like right now along with us if you want to. You can just follow the steps. You can kind of code along. Drama. But yeah, if you're at home, do the same steps and you'll actually be faster than us, because like
yeah, I need to figure out some way to make it so that OBS doesn't take the hit. I think I can like prioritize it. I think it might be prioritized, but I'm seeing like the little green light go from like green to yellow to red, and I was like, oh no. As long as we don't lose the connection, I think that's okay. Now it's extracting, so we should be good, because the downloading should be done.
That's the main.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the main thing done.
Obi-Wan,
so
love
good.
from India. Cool. Yeah, Hyder, welcome. Cool and nice. Welcome. We are installing Bit right now, which is I'm gonna keep pushing. It's a component development tool that makes it easy to manage components across multiple apps and projects.
You're getting there,
I'm
Alex.
getting there. I mean, you can teach an old horse new tricks. That wasn't good. I apologize, Chad. I apologize.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So look at this yellow message, and I know it's unfortunately these messages, you know, come along. So the global Bit install location was not found in your path global variable. So please run the following command and then reopen the terminal. So you need to run that command.
I would have never read that.
I know.
I'm the type of person that just goes, all right, we're good. Let's keep moving.
I know. Unfortunately, that is just something that we have to do to get it to work. There's probably no other way around it. Okay. And I've just got to so we've got to restart the terminal, because that's how terminals work, in the sense of when you're doing this, then it's not going to pick that up.
All right. Got it. So
let's just make sure that that Bit works. Let's just do bit -- help. Let's make sure it's there. No. So something is not
install
working.
BVM. We installed BVM. Install
Yeah,
Bit.
you install Bit. So well, you're on Windows. Let's just make sure that you did that thing. No, go back to the docs.
Okay.
just to make sure this. So click on the Windows tab. Yeah, that is the right one. So you did that one because you're on Windows, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I've never worked on Windows, so I have no idea if
Shoot. Half an hour of debugging later, yeah.
I know the term bit is not recognized as the name of the commandlet function. Just do BVM. Can you do BVM -- version and see if BVM should be at least here.
Yep.
So we have BVM. And let's just try and install bit again after we've run that. So BVM, what is it? BVM install bit, BVM install, yeah.
Oh,
let's see if, yeah, just install. Let's see if now it does it. No, it's still giving you this.
Please run the following command and then reopen the terminal. I'll run that and then reopen like all of the code. I don't know. I'll try that out.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes the term like I do it normally in the Mac terminal and then turn off the Mac terminal. I don't know if.
There we go. It seems to be. Yep, there we go. Cool.
Yeah,
right, we're good.
Okay. So a terminal thing in VS Code, you need to actually shut off VS Code, not just the terminal.
Interesting. That's weird. All right, cool.
Good to know.
VS Code thing.
Okay, so let's go back to the docs because I like people to whenever they're watching a stream to then go, oh, what do they do? I don't remember. And at least they can kind of follow along. So the next thing we need to do is initialize a workspace. A workspace is where we work. You would call it like maybe a repo, if what you're building, right?
Yeah.
So I like the quick guide, bit new React. We're going to work with React today. And my workspace name, so you can call it Frontend Horse, or you can call it whatever you want.
Cool. So bit new React. So React isn't a name that is specifying my
it's specifying the environment of the workspace. So if you wanted an Angular one, which I haven't documented yet, the Angular one would be bit new ng something or whatever, right?
Cool. All right. So let's go out of my Frontend Horse directory. So bit new React. Let's go bit for project. Let's do that if that's cool.
Okay.
Help us prioritize new features. Sure. I will gladly give anonymous usage analytics.
Yes, that's always helpful because then we know what features to work on and improve and stuff. So don't be afraid to answer yes if you ever get that message. It doesn't pop up again once you do. So what this is doing is don't worry. I know this is like a little thing, a little bug we need to fix. And it's just going to show up there forever. And we don't know how to get rid of it because it's trying to install something that's not there yet. So the order's not there for it to actually kind of, and it's just a bit annoying, but unfortunately it's there. So, wow, that was kind of fast, right? And now you can see in a new workspace has been created successfully. And these are just a couple of commands that you can use. So you can use bit start, it starts the workspace in development mode, bit install, installs missing dependencies, bit status, checks the status of the components, bit compile, compiles your components, bit test, test your components, bit templates, shows all the available templates, and bit help, we did that before, shows you all the commands that are going to help you if you need help.
Cool.
So let's get started. CD bit project and then bit start.
Yeah, let's do it. Actually, I don't want to bit start from here. Let's open this. Oh, what? Wait, what?
What did you do? I've lost. I can't see.
So I'm trying.
It's going to be blurry for me.
Did what we ran before? Did that change like everything about my shortcodes?
It shouldn't have changed your shortcodes. I don't really know.
Or whatever. Interesting. I'm trying to open.
Yeah, mine normally works. I normally do I have Code Insiders. I normally do Code Insiders dash and it works.
Interesting.
So
yeah, that's funny. Thank you for those follows, Sad Boy Kitchen and Data Dev. Welcome.
Nice.
So cool. We've got our project here, and we can run bit start.
Yeah.
Is that the command? Cool. So
while it's starting now, it takes a couple of seconds to start the first time because it's building all the UI, and it's like you've seen that whole UI where all the components were that we looked at earlier. It's got to build that, right? So it's going to take probably two minutes. So if you're ever doing this and you're like waiting, I wanted to put a message there saying, hey, developer, go have a cup of coffee and come back in 2 minutes and it'll be all ready for you. But after that, it's really fast, but the first one takes a few seconds.
Got it. So is it building what I'm looking at? Like, am I going to have a local version of this?
None of this application,
Okay.
but of something similar. Yeah.
Right.
So
But
like
like of the UI and then
of
my
the UI.
components in the middle. So like I'm gonna have this, but locally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
You're
really
going to see it
cool.
now in a second. So while it's building, let me just quickly show you the Workspace Json, right? This is your config file, right? This is where you would configure everything. And you can see you called it name bit project. If you wanted to change that to something else, you could change that here.
Cool.
And then you've got like the icon, if you want to put your own icon up there, the default directory. Oh, here we go. We've got
Uh,
them.
should we finish with this or no? Should we?
Yeah, we can finish this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then, so the default scope, this is something that's really important. And we probably, we probably should have set it up with the company and scope name, because I know you already set up an account with BitDev, and that makes it easier for deploying your components. But we haven't actually created a new component yet. So we will change this in a minute, because company.scope doesn't make sense because there's no company called company, right? So you would be Frontend Horse or Alex Trust or whatever your name
Right.
is, followed by whatever your scope is, which we could be called base UI, design, whatever.
Okay.
So we'll come back to that in a minute, but that's
Cool.
really important to change this when you start creating your components.
Cool. All right.
Right?
So here's our. So we get some basic like boilerplate stuff out of the box. We get a card, we get a heading widget, we get text, which is probably going to get used in pretty much every application that we might encounter. So that's a nice couple defaults to have. And then yeah, this is pretty much like the inside here of this UI of like what we get online. We get it all locally. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what should I do here?
Exactly. Yeah, just to show you. So this is stuff I created to make people's lives easier. So click on the welcome page, because like,
Okay.
I was hoping people would click on the welcome page first.
I think they would. I'm just trying to restrain myself because I can get into clicking and touching and all that kind of stuff.
So yeah, this is just like, we've been through this before with the shoe store, etc. But this is just like a page where you've got components that's made up, and I just created some card components and like with some commands. So just some basic stuff that like if you got stuck, this is like a kind of mini documentation inside your application.
Yeah, that's great.
So you can remove all these if you want to, etc. Like, these are just they're just here to help you, but I'm not recommending you use my text component or heading component or card component. It's just a way of you seeing in the code how the components are used together, so you can easily like build your own and stuff. So that's the idea there.
Cool.
And you can see here there's an environment, right? Enms, my React. So this is my React environment. So what this does is like basically it's setting up things. So I'm using this environment, which applies a theme to all my components, so that the components are themed in the compositions, because really like a theme gets applied at app level, right? But I want to be able to see the components in their nice state before they get sent to the application.
Okay.
So in order to do that, I apply an environment that says, hey, I want you to use this font and this color scheme and this theme.
Okay.
And I can change the TS config. I can change the linting, the formatting, the testing. I can do all that other kind of configgy stuff. Webpack, I can configure all this. You can do all that, right? So this is where the environment comes in. And you can share the environment across, because it's a component. So you can use that environment across different applications.
Got it.
That they all have the same environment.
Cool. So this isn't so much is this like environment variables, or is this a bit of a different like, should I think of it in that same sort of way, or it's more like theme, or more like the package setup? I'm trying to get a mental model.
It's pretty hardcore. Yeah, it's pretty hardcore. Like take your have you ever used Tailwind?
Yes.
Right. You know that Tailwind config file?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you go to another application and you've got to duplicate that Tailwind config file. And then you create another application and you duplicate that Tailwind config file again.
And then tweak.
Right. Well, your environment, is where all your configs kind of live. So
got it. Okay. So this is
your
the
TS config, your ESLint config
for how it's compiled, Webpack. Okay, cool. So that's not exactly
like your lint rules, your prettier rules, and it bundles them all into one component. You could have 5 components. I mean, you could have all these separate if you wanted, right? So this environment is my React. I want React, but I want it my style because I put an ESLint rule in there, plus a prettier rule, plus a theme, plus other stuff. So it
Cool.
just shows you how you can reuse environments across different applications, basically.
Awesome.
Kind of
And
hardcore, I know.
yeah, no. But this is really handy because I might spend a day trying to debug why my card looks like that here, but it doesn't look that way in the app, or vice versa. And it comes down to something that should have been locked in right here. So
Yeah, just up a
without
little bit,
this,
and
yeah.
you can see it just a bit higher. No, these are the variants. This will show which components are using that theme, right? Or using that, sorry, environment. You want the UI component and the page component, but you might not want another component. So if you created another namespace called, I don't know, design, then it would not be applied because you haven't stated it here. So you have to like, you can have different environments because you have a node environment. You can actually, okay, I'm gonna like wreck your head now, but you can actually, I don't know why you'd want this, right? But you can actually have a workspace where you can have Angular components, React components, Node components, lit components, all in the one space. And this is where you kind of like have to define in the workspace variants and say these components, these UI. So in this one, we'd have, say, like React UI, React components, Angular UI, Angular environment, right? And that's how you can kind of like play with these. So it gets very deep if you wanted to go to that level.
Well, yeah. Using Vue and React components in one project, and yeah, my brain was wrecked years ago. You can't do any extra
Yeah.
damage. Um,
Not
yeah,
remember, not use, not consume, because my opinion, putting Angular, Vue, and React in one application is a disaster waiting to happen. That's my opinion. But you might be like compiling components or could like creating the components in the one workspace because you have a team that's efficient in those. You might want to have them like for whatever reasons, right?
right,
Just you can do it. It's all
right.
possible. So
Cool.
yeah, that's gone a bit hardcore.
No
Um,
worries.
and the documentation should explain everything to you of how it works, and that's why it's in the demo project
Awesome.
of like what to do. So yeah, these are the dummy components that I gave to you. They're just in the demo folder, and you can remove them very easily, or you can use them, or you can play with them, or you can change them and see it change. They're there to kind of like give you something to play with, so you're not kind of going,
Yeah.
how do I get started with Bit? Here's your components, and like if you go into the demo folder, for example, like you can see all these components here, and
Yeah,
you
so
could
this
like go,
this matches what we saw on GitHub with your setup, where we've got the index that exports it. You got the actual component
yeah.
here, right? So that's actually exporting our
Yeah, and you can
JSX.
put something else in there. You can just like throw some text in there, or put another heading, and like you can see it like duplicate. Yeah, and you'll see that that
So
appear.
that was the card. Yeah, there we go. Get our little
Yeah.
bang bang. That's really cool.
So
So this is just running all the time, and so I can, so this does, and I don't mean to keep comparing you to something else, but I think I am personally familiar with Storybook, and so this
mhm.
would serve a lot of the purposes that Storybook would do for me, in that I would have this open and be able to um, build with this and kind of see the different versions here. I love that I can bring Storybook in if I would like, but the fact that this kind of is, it feels like a component authoring suite where I handle many different aspects of the component building process all in here.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Yeah,
and so
and if you go to
here's
the
my stories.
card.spec, if
Card
you go to the
dots
card.spec, for
back.
example,
Okay.
and just like change self-host to XXX or whatever, just change one of those texts. Get by text, right? See on
Oh,
line 7,
yep.
just change it to whatever. Just break the test,
Right.
right? And then save it. And then if you go over to the tests tab,
Cool. So
we
it's
now have a
running
broken
those
test
tests on.
all the time.
Wow. Wow. That's really nice. And it even like does this support multiple testing I always screw up the terminology here, but like engines or multiple test runners.
Um, so it's got Jest and it's got like testing library working. Now, if you wanted to use a different one, you could change the configuration to use
Okay.
something else, like use Mocha Chai or whatever, for example. But we haven't started to implement Cypress yet. That's something that it's on my cards. Like I really want to get
Cool.
Cypress in there because I'm a Cypress fan.
Yeah.
But that's more work going to be done to it. So at the moment, like this is what we have, just in testing library or Mocha Chai. If you
That's
wanted that.
great. That's like having that right there. Saved it, assuming it'll fix.
Yeah, and if you tried to like export that, then like, you know, it's not going to let you. It's going to say in the terminal, you've got one component that's broken, you need to fix it, and then you just like go to go and fix it, or go to the test tab and you'll see it.
Got it. I went back to fix it, but I realized it actually is still broken because I still have the exclamation mark.
Exactly.
That was, yeah, like, why isn't it working? It is working.
Yep.
I'm not working.
The test is working. You're not working.
I'm not working. Now it should theoretically. There we go. Nice.
There you go.
That's really great. Having the tests baked in here, running at the same time that my like development environment is running, and being able to see them isolated like this, not needing to worry if CSS is leaking in here, and you know, like this kind of a workflow is so nice. And then seeing the dependencies, this is cool. Okay, so even though it's a new project, because we're pulling in, let me see.
Yeah, so this is I like the way you did this, right? So we're taking in a heading, we're taking in the text, we're taking in the external link, and we're taking in the copy box. But you can see that like the company scope, this is our local project because we never changed, right? But you can see I'm also using components from Team Bit, right? The external link and the copy box, they're not in your project. You do not have them, but they are in your node modules folder.
Got it.
Right? They're going to be in there.
Yeah.
So you'll find your if you go into the company one, into the company and go into the card, for example.
Card, cool.
Yeah, and you can see it's got a package JSON. Right? You didn't do anything to create that, right? This is all created for you.
Right.
And you can see like in the dist folder, you've got everything you need. This is everything that component needs to do what it needs to do, to be used in NPM, to be used wherever, and that's all there for you, right? So that's basically what's going on behind the scenes, and all the components that it needs. Actually, we could do that. We can do bit show, so you can actually see what it's needed. So bit show, where is it? It's in. Yeah, I think it's in UI card. Is that where it is?
Am I keeping this open?
Yeah. That's, you can close that. It's fine.
Okay.
So bit show UI / card, I think it is.
Okay. Give it a shot.
I hope. Looking good. Okay, so this is going to give you all the information about that component.
Oh, nice. Let me give it a little more space. It's tough when my text is so big. I do it for, it's okay.
Yeah, so you can see that, then it goes a bit ugly when you go a little bit
all good.
You can see the ID of the component, the scope, the name of it, the environment. It's using the environment my React as opposed to the normal React. Yeah, it's not deprecated.
Right. Well, just that I can say that at all, and people in my company will go, "Oh, right." Like being able to communicate that it's just a simple Boolean, but the fact that I can do that and let everyone know. I think Debbie did make elevator music as it was building. Yeah. That's wonderful.
And I love that. Are you using React Vue Angular? Yes.
Right. Yeah. Vue Angular. Thomas is wonderful. Cool.
So yeah, this just scroll a little bit there. It's showing the files that this component has, right? And now it's got the dev files. These are the development files, right? The spec, the composition, the docs, they're just development stuff. And then you've got the extensions. It's using like the React package docs, and these are all the extensions that are used to make this component. And then you've got the dependencies, and it's
Wow.
showing you all those dependencies. It's got core.js in there. It's got other stuff in there, right? And the dev dependencies. So you can see I've got the Figma embed component that I created to embed Figma. It's
Oh,
got like testing library. It's got runtime. It's got Jest. It's got React Dev.
just
It's got
right.
Node. And peer dependencies, right? It's got React as a peer dependency because you're going to have React already installed where you're going to use this. So it's a peer dependency because if you don't have React, then like install it. But obviously, we're going to presume that you're going to be using this in the React project that's going to have
Right.
React, right?
Right. This is really cool. So before we got on the air, and I think we still call it the air. I'm pretty sure it's not just an old radio terminology. But before we got on it, I basically asked you, should I set up an initial create React app so that we can create our components there? And I think that speaks to my misunderstanding of how you build components with Bit, where I was thinking that we were going to have a React app and then have to like import Bit into each component and like wrap the component in Bit or do something along those lines. I'm getting laughed at, but just the development environment that we get here and being able to just to work on these components in isolation is so nice. Like this is just a really great experience in terms of how I can create my components in isolation, and then it seems like, and we haven't done it yet, but it seems like easily import them into my project with just a few
Yeah.
commands. It's like it seems like BVM is going to allow me just to kind of go like BVM push in that kind of a thing, and then it
Well, Bit,
updates.
BVM has to manage the versions of Bit.
Okay,
So it's going to be Bit commands, like Git commands, right?
right,
Bit commands. So think of it that way.
cool. Yeah, this is so much better than I was anticipating, and I knew it was going to be a nice workflow, but this kind of a setup where everything's isolated and I get this nice UI and everything. I get the pages. I get like atomic design kind of built into this, where like each bit, hey, can kind of
Yeah.
make up bigger parts, and they're all present.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful. Cool.
Okay, so we're going to start creating
Yeah,
some components, but
let's do it.
because we want to export the components, I'm going to get you to open your Bit Dev account. Now, we're just going to export it to BitCloud. It's free to export it to there if you're using like public. So here, yeah, you've got this far, right? So create your first component scope. So personal project, you just want to be a personal project. You don't want to be a
Cool.
team, right?
Cool.
And we want to use the Harmony version because that's the recommended. It's in beta, but it's very stable, but like it's just not finished because we keep improving it.
Cool.
And let's make it public because
yeah, that way everyone
it's just
can
better.
play with it.
Yeah, and I think because public is free, I'm not sure how many you get on private. Like private sometimes could be a other feature that you have to pay for or something. But
Cool.
anyway, let's just go with public. And then the scope name. So you can call where do you want your components or what kind of components are you creating? Are you creating e-commerce components, base components?
Go with base, I guess,
Are they
right?
stored? Yeah, you can call it. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
base is your collection name.
Awesome.
And then you can create that scope, right? That scope is like a collection. That's where all your components are going to live.
All right. So just hit create scope.
Yeah.
Cool.
So again, this is free. You can export to here. You can also export, self-host them. Some people can't because of company regulations. So they need to have a self-hosted company one, which is, the way companies sometimes work. That's also cool. Sometimes people just don't trust, bit.dev, for example. It's like, oh, well, what if Bit dies? Oh no, where all my components live? Oh no. So like they get afraid. That's also cool. You can just put them on the NPM. That's totally fine. And I have a whole blog post I've written up about how to do that. Basically, like Bit is open source, so just use it however you want. We don't care. It's up to you.
Okay. Cool. So Bit itself is open source.
Yeah, Bit is open source, and then Bit Dev is like the cloud platform. So that's like,
cool.
Has some. It's a freemium, and then has the premium. And if you wanted to have extra features and team collaboration and authentication, and we have like a Ripple CI, which is going to like propagate changes when you're building and stuff like that. So it's going to have all these extra things that enterprises, large scale enterprises, are going to need. So that's me and you don't need that.
Right.
Enterprises need that. So
it's kind of like the WordPress.org and WordPress.com sort of thing, where like WordPress itself is.
God, you're comparing us to WordPress. Oh my
no,
God.
I'm comparing the pricing. I'm trying to make the pricing model clear for people, where it's like you can use it as much as possible. But if you want Bit to host for certain features, stuff like that, I'm just trying to make it clear, because some people hear it's free, but you can also pay, and they go, I'm gonna get trapped into a thing where as soon as I do a little bit, I have to pay a bunch. That's always my fear.
I would say compare it to how Next.js is in Versal, right? Bit is Next in the sense of you can use it and you can like deploy it where you want. Just like with a Next app, you can deploy on Netlify or you can deploy on Versal, right? If you deploy on Versal, you're going to get these extras because it's built and baked in, and
that makes sense.
It's going to be much better, and it's free to deploy on Versal, right? Unless you want all these extra cool things that you might want. So that's kind of how to work it. But at any time, you can use bit.dev, and then you can just change it, and you can just configure the Workspace JSON and say, you know what, I don't want to use bit.dev anymore. I want to use npm, and you can, and that's just one config change, and then you just deploy it. Or you can start and do npm and then go, oh my God, it's a disaster to maintain 100 components on npm, because it is. I'm going to use bit.dev because it's actually going to make my life easier. But it's completely up to you. So I just like to say, use it however you're comfortable. It's all possible, but we're using bit.dev because right now it's quick and it's easy and it's simple and it's free. So that's why we're using it.
Awesome. And I apologize for any WordPress offense, none intended. Cool.
So like you need to set the default scope, trust codes.base.
Right. That was in our JSON file, right? Our JSON-C.
Yeah.
Where to close this up? Workspace.json. Default scope. There it is. Trustcodes.base.
Cool. And then save that. And now we're kind of ready to go.
Should I restart my Bit server?
No, it's fine. So now we just go back to the docs because we're going to start creating some components. And creating components.
Cool.
So again, you don't need to set up the account if you're not going to export. You can just just go with company.scope, but then you're going to have to configure things and change things and find and replace, because the import statements will be wrong. So it's just saving us a step.
Yeah.
So we're going to basically bit create. I actually changed this and I didn't update the docs, but use that command, bit create react or bit create react -component, both work. And UI is the namespace you want to put it in, and button is the component you want to create. So whatever component you want to create, if you want to go with this example, you can use this one.
So should I just copy this and paste it in?
Yeah, just copy it because it's easier. You might need another terminal window there. You don't have to just never mind. So it's all good.
It's all good. I'm going back, and then we got the terminal window. There we go. Cool. Bit create React component UI button. Am I good to run that? All right, cool.
Yeah, I hope so. If it works, it should work.
All right. If it works, that's just Bit starting again. Ignore that. Here we go. Looks like we got something.
So now you can see it put the components. You can see your name is there in the env, trust bands base ends my React, right? We've changed our company name.
Right.
So yeah. So you should have the components in base,
because that's what I named it when we created it, right?
Exactly.
I named it base, so it knows that. Or I also did that. I also told it through the JSON file. And so now it's creating my components in that base folder. Cool.
Exactly. So if we want to, let's do this, because this is going to be an issue if not. And I need to work a better way. I need to find a better way of doing this. But if we go to the Workspace JSON, just going to scroll down a little bit.
Cool.
So I've set up these things, right? Now, if you don't want to use my environment, right? You can uncomment the line below, and you can remove the custom end, and you can just use the React end, the normal React one, and then
Okay.
you like won't have my theme applied, etc., etc. So this is just good to know that yeah, basically like I've created this end for you, but maybe you're going to delete it, and then you might have like some problems. So if you are going to delete it, then the components will like try and look for something that doesn't exist, or they'll try and put a node environment on your component. So you can use the Team React one
Okay.
if you wanted to, right? That's the general React environment, okay?
Got
And
it.
you can see I've also applied the MDX for the content pages if you were going to create content. And if you're going to create extensions and environments, that's Aspect, right? So that's kind of a bit hardcore stuff. So let's try and like go to the button and make an actual button, because although I gave you all these files, you see all these files got created for you. I didn't really create a button, right? I just gave you a div with a text in there,
Got it.
right? You've got to do
I
the
mean
work,
right here. Yeah, right. So I've got to
right?
go ahead and
So
make the button.
exactly. So change it to button and then put in like, and then I don't know, you can leave the text as it is. You can do whatever you want. And then maybe in the component button composition, you could put click me or something, and then you've got a proper button, right?
Oh, in the composition. Got it. Hello from button. Nice.
Exactly. So and it's going to probably break the tests as well, because like I've set up the test for you.
Cool.
So you don't want broken tests. You'll probably have to change this as well.
Think that's what it said. Let me
Yeah.
see.
If not, it will tell you when it's done. And then
Cool.
styles is up to you. We won't deal with styles today, but you could just import a style sheet if you wanted to,
Got it.
or use CSS and JAX or whatever styling you want to do in
Awesome.
React. So if you go to your local project, we should see that button.
Oh, this is not my local. This is my local.
Okay.
Button.
Don't worry about those errors. I think it just sometimes, yeah. So we've got some issues here.
Okay.
So I think because we restarted the dev server and stuff like that, we crashed something.
Shoot.
So if we go back to the terminal.
Okay. Oh.
And I think also because we changed the default scope. So let's just run bit compile.
So I'll kill the bit.
Yeah. So this is going to compile. We should have run bit status first, because that would have told you like there was an issue with blah, blah, blah. But now you can see, right? Bit compile, okay. These were all a success. So now it should be okay and it should work. So we can just run bit start.
Got it. So it basically needed to adjust to the changes that we made with adding the changing company to my name and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And actually, there's a command, because I've written it in the new docs, but not in the old docs. There's a command that you can put when you're actually setting up the project. So you could have this set up, and then it will not put company and scope and put your name like directly from the start, and you won't have to do that. But
nice.
It's not in the docs. It's not in the docs yet. Sorry.
Got it. All good.
Just refresh that. That should be working. Just click on refresh. No, hang on. What happened?
So our tests are passing, but our compositions are a little funky.
Assigning to revalue file was processed with these loaders. When is it going to do this with the welcome page? Let me see. Oh, okay, yeah. So what's happened is we've changed the default scope, which means the demo components are going to have an issue. So I think that's what's going to cause a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're looking for the other scope, and we changed the scope. This is the problem that I need to fix and I need to improve on when documenting this. So we can remove those demo components.
Is there? Am I still getting company? Is this?
Yeah, I mean you. Yeah, you can change this to your one, which is what is it? Trust. Yeah. That will help. But if not, we can just remove my environment and put the React environment, and that will kind of also take away that issue, right?
Okay. So do you want to do that? How do I do that?
Let's just start with a clean one. So just like I said in this comment, uncomment the line below and remove the custom one. Exactly. And then just exactly. So now we have just a normal Team-Bit React one. So we've got no custom environment, which is totally fine. We've got no theme, but you can put your own theme. You can create your own one in your own time. And this is still not going to work because of the demo components.
Got it. So should we nuke this file, this folder?
Yeah. So we can. So just if you go to the bitmap file at the end.
We can
right, this is where your components live. Now you shouldn't like delete anything here because this is a this is a, what do you call it?
It's not made by humans.
Auto-generated.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So to remove components, you use bit remove, and you can do bit remove and the UI/text, or bit remove in comma in brackets UI/asterisk, and that will remove all the ones under the UI under there, right? So that's one way of doing it. Bit remove text, for example. Well, this one you have to put quotes.
Okay.
You probably won't.
Remove.
Yeah.
So UI/asterisk, like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And press yes. And you can also add -- delete files, and it would have deleted all the files as well. So now we've got, we actually deleted our button as well, right? So, but that's fine. We can just recreate it. But just because I wanted to show you how easy it is to actually be careful with, asterisks, because you can remove everything. But don't worry.
Okay.
We can still add it, even though it's not removed. It's your files are still there, but it's not in the bitmap. So we're going to remove this, the ems React as well, and we'll remove the pages. So just copy the pages welcome, for example.
So
the first one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they were just like starting with a clean project.
Cool.
Yeah, it doesn't need to in the brackets unless you're using a star, but it's fine.
Got it. Okay, but that should still work. And then to say yes. All right. And then
we remove we can remove the environment as well, and then we have like, again, don't copy the demo part, just the enms. Yeah.
Got it.
And then you can like remove completely that that demo folder, or you could leave it there as a reference, right? So it's not going to be in your workspace. If you go to your workspace now, it's going to be empty.
Got it. I don't have it running right now, I don't think. Bit start. Looks like I might have crashed or something.
You're going to have no components, right? Cool. And you can always look in your bitmap and say, why have I got no components? Because you have no components, right? So now we've got a very clean and simple project. So there's a couple of things we can do. We created that lovely base component in UI, and we removed it accidentally. So we can add it again with bit add, or we could just recreate it with bit create. So bit create will add it to the bitmap. Yeah, let's try and add it. I think it's UI/button, or could be base/UI button. It could be, yeah, no, it's base.
Cool. Okay.
So that's added it. Exactly. And then we should now see this in the workspace.
Nice. All right, cool. And then
now, as you can see, it's coming up. It's broken, right? Because if you look on the left-hand side, it's got a Node.js symbol. So it's trying to apply React onto Node, and it's like, I don't know what to do here. This is like, how can I be React when you've set me as Node? So we need to go back to our Workspace Json, and you can see, like, so we tried to do UI, but for some reason it's not picking it up. And we have base UI, which it should pick up if we called it UI. So it's interesting that it doesn't. Can you run bit env? So bit env, and let's just see why it's not. So this will tell you all the environments. So it's applying Node.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like what I did, which is very annoying. So we can actually just get rid of one of the stars, or put base before it if you want. That's another. Shouldn't it? And then and I think we need to remove the brackets, and then it will take the folder structure. Yeah, so remove the 2 brackets. And again, this is something we need to improve on. So basically it's not about, so just, oh, sorry, take this stars away. And probably the slash, I think you need to remove the slash, I can't remember.
Cool. We got button and React.
So
nice.
So this is a way of like, if you're ever in doubt and kind of saying, oh, it's not working for me, what's going on? It's to do with how you've set up your folder structure. And I don't know why it didn't, like the demo one was the same. Now, if this doesn't work, when you do this, you need to just compile it again. So it's going to get all the dist folder correctly. So just git compile.
Cool.
And that will compile it. Now, the next time you create a component, it's going to like be applied in that folder, and it's going to be like got the React environment, and it will all be working, right? So once you set it up the first time, then it will all be good.
Cool.
So now we should have a button that works with React, and we should have a React symbol. Yes, we have a React symbol, and give it a second to load. It just takes a second, unfortunately. There you go. And it has its tests.
Oh, then there's our button. Cool.
And there's your button. It's ugly as hell. It looks like a button.
I'm a big fan of the user agent style sheet. That's my entire aesthetic.
And you can see in the overview,
cool.
You've got like this, like you didn't do anything, right? And this was all created for you, right? You did no work. We did nothing. And you've got a live playground and everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, just to show you everything that's done.
Thank you for the follow. Yeah, this is really cool. And then I've got the playground here, right? Like that's cool. Yeah, and that's all coming from my docs MDX. So we're importing button here. Oh, so this little live thing makes that playground? That's cool. I'll pick your brain later about how you doing that. I'm not going to slow us down here.
It's MDX. It's your MDX.
Wait, that's just a baked-in MDX feature that I've never known about?
I don't know. Maybe.
Chat,
maybe
is this a thing? Is just live a thing? That's amazing. Okay, that's wow. I mean, that's really cool.
Maybe it's a bit thing, but I thought it was just an MDX thing, but I could be wrong.
That's cool.
Okay, so we have one component. Let's create another component. Let's create something that's going to use the button. I don't know, whatever you want.
Cool, like a CTA card, right?
Okay, let's do it. So open the terminal, and just while you have the terminal open, just run run bit templates. And this is going to give you a list of all the templates that I've created for you. So if you wanted to create a HTML component, a React environment, we've got a generator. If you want to generate your own ones, because maybe you want to have specific things, this will show you how to create a component generator, workspace generator. So that's there. We won't go into that today. Create a React context, create a React hook, create a React JavaScript. So we're using TypeScript at the moment, but if you didn't want to use TypeScript, you could just use JavaScript. That's totally fine. Just use the JS extension. Create an environment. So we just removed the environment that I gave you. You could just create a new environment, and you'd get all that out of the box.
But you've got like a boilerplate that I can start with. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we won't go into that today, but you can play around with that later. Yeah. And even the MDX, if you wanted to create an MDX component, like just for like a content page, for example, or something, that's there as well. So let's do the. You've got a lot of horses going on today.
A lot of horses. Thank you for that follow. Welcome. Cool.
So yeah, let's just do that command. So React is the command bit create React. And then whatever you want it in the UI namespace or the UI folder, like slash and the name, whatever you want to call it.
CTA. Do you recommend kebab case for this? Okay, cool. CTA card. Let's do that. And if we still had our card component, we could kind of like merge those together and add like a text thing, right? Like we could have a few different ones going on. Cool. Looks like it worked. Base.
And you can see
CCFI.
it's using React, right? You can already say, oh, this is great. This is already using React, so this is good. We
Where
set
am
it
I
up
seeing
right.
that? Oh, right there. There it is. Cool.
Mhm.
And then so we should expect. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it does have a little kind of error there. I don't know why. We're just trying to get rid of that, but it should just work.
No, I mean the fact that it got put into the UI, but the buttons.
Oh, I know what went wrong. When we added it, we didn't tell it to go into the UI folder. And that's why the environment wasn't working.
Oh, buttons not in the UI folder. Wait,
It's in the UI
neither of them
folder, but
are.
it's not in the UI namespace.
Okay. So before that,
So,
that worked well. We just didn't. We just said create button. That's what it was.
and we forgot to put UI when we did the add, like the crate one is fine.
Oh,
But
right.
when we did the add, so if you look at the bitmap file, it's actually going to show you that. If you look at the
Cool.
bitmap,
By the way,
we're going to see.
points for the name bitmap. That's pretty great.
You can
Base UI
see
button,
right at the
base
top.
UI.
Yeah, but it's the folder structure, the root directory. But if you look at the top, it's just button. And if you look at the other one, it's UI
Yeah.
CK card. And that's where we went wrong. We forgot to
Should
put
I
the
change
namespace
this,
in.
or is that a bad idea?
It's a bad idea because it's an auto-generated file. I've changed this so many times,
Yeah.
but don't do it at home, right?
Right.
But you can actually move the component as well. So you can actually just go bit move, button,
Well, that's
UI
the weird
button.
thing. They're both inside the UI
But
folder.
that's a directory. One thing
Right.
is a directory, and another thing is where it is in your actual
Got it. So
workspace.
you meant move it with the CLI. Sorry, I processed that after you said it. So bit move.
Yeah,
Is that
button.
so? And then UI/button.
Yeah, and that
Cool.
should move it.
Let me
And just close the bitmap because you have it.
that right.
Yeah, exactly. And it won't move it in your folder structure because it's all path from button and to UI button do not exist. Okay, so it's something button you do. Oh no, this moves the folders. Yeah, okay.
It's cool. We don't have to mess with it if you don't think
We can remove it and re-add it and stuff, but it's not important at the moment.
I think we got it working enough.
You could just modify it because we haven't imported it to anywhere at the moment, so it's not really gonna. It's only when you start to import it and stuff, is when. Like, okay, just nobody do this at home, right? Go on,
Children,
change it here.
cover your eyes.
Slash,
no one look.
Put a slash, and then press and then do bitlink.
Just type bitlink.
Yeah.
No one.
Don't do this at home.
We are trained professionals. This is not.
And then do bit compile. Just hacking the system.
Yep.
Don't do this. But yeah, if you ever need to, then you can. It's like, everything's possible in Bit. It's just that there are nicer ways of doing it. And now it's in the right place, right?
Nice.
And now, like, if you click on button and you've got these, right? So now you want to use the button inside the card.
Weird. Now our button thing's gone. Shoot.
Oh yeah, we have no tests. And we had tests. Why do we have no tests? What happened there? Something weird just happened. Oh, we broke everything.
This is what happens when you don't touch the bitmap, people. It's what you never do. Yeah. Never touch the bitmap. All right.
If you do, then restart the servers, because then it gets all a bit crazy because it doesn't know where it was and what's going on, and it can't cope. So now we should be fine.
Nope. So I wasn't patient enough.
Yeah.
I'm glad I waited.
Yeah. So that's what happens when you mess with things. You shouldn't mess with. You break the internals, and then you don't know what happened. So always restart the dev server if there's anything weird going on. Because it's running Webpack, right? So you know what happens when you got Webpack problems, just restart Webpack. That's basically what we're doing. Right. We're restarting Webpack.
Perfect.
Okay, so we want to use the button inside the card.
Yes, I do.
So how do we do that? So go to your card TXX file.
Yep. So go import, is it button?
Yeah.
From, don't help me out, Copilot, I got this, trostcodes.base. I'm winging it.
Okay, not bad, but you can actually just open the local host, the local dev server.
Open the local dev server.
Go to the and
yeah.
click And just copy this here. Look, package name and copy.
Nice. I was
Yeah.
so close, but not really that close.
I
Is
mean,
this
you did a good job. You did a good job. No. Just like yeah.
cool?
No, but in the you're missing a bracket.
Yep.
There you go. So everything has to be done this way. You cannot just do it like a local relative
Like,
import.
yeah,
It
right,
will
like that.
not allow it
Cool. All right.
because it has
But
to be treated as a package, and if not, it's gonna like it doesn't allow it. So you just can't do it. So
yeah,
just get
because
into the
otherwise
system.
this isn't going to be able to be exported by itself. It's going to need to always exist next to the button at all times. It's not going to be able to
Yeah,
stand as its own little component. So that makes
exactly.
complete sense to me. That's awesome.
Okay, so then use it as you would a normal React component.
Yeah, so we got text, then we got our little button. Did it take a prop, right? It didn't do children, so just text.
Yeah, you can see it. It's telling you.
Oh, did it?
That's the
Yeah, it was
benefits of
throwing an error.
TypeScript.
It says it needs text. Awesome.
Yeah.
Text equals, hey, I'm in a card now. We can do real quick, just do style. Border 1px solid. Oh. And then let's go border radius. And then, oh, that's not how you do objects. And padding equals 1 rem. Oh, that's not a 1.
Nice.
Let's see if we get a nice little CTA card. Compositions. Not getting my style. Is it styles? No, it's style. Style. Is that just garbage style?
That looks okay.
There we go. That's better. I think
Yeah,
I think that
beautiful.
semicolon was throwing it. That's a wonderful card. And yeah,
it's
there's
amazing.
our button.
It's amazing, right?
Exactly what I was expecting it to look like.
Let's just click on your tests to make sure. Yeah, they're fine. So that's good. So yeah, we're gonna now export that component and send it up to BitDev where you have that empty, no components in the. So in order to do that, we just use the terminal and.
So.
And actually, if you don't know how to do it, I'll show. If you just go back to where we were, just in case, like
yeah,
you don't know.
Tomorrow.
They are in the docs because we've stopped using the docs, as you can see. But yeah, just click on the button, for example. And if you click on the change log, you know that like timer clock thing.
Yeah.
It's going to say there's no change log, there's no components being exported yet, and you can listen to my voice and watch me actually do it. We're not going to do that now, but like if you're stuck, right, it's there. It's going to tell you how to do it, or you can read the documentation here. So it's all set in here for you, right?
Okay.
So this is what we're going to do. This is actual docs. We're going to go bit tag the component ID, or let's just tag them all because we have those two components. But if we had those demo components, we might only want to do the button, for example.
Got it.
So we're going to bit tag all. Patch is the default. Message is like if you want a nice message, like I told you before, remember I showed you, you could just put initial release, or maybe it's not important to have a message. That's up to you. It's like a Git commit message.
Got it.
You know.
Yeah, we can do a message. Nice little
and we can say initial release, or my first component, or this is cool, or whatever you want to put.
Initial release. Cool. All right, and hit enter.
And hit enter. And this might or might not work because it's been a long time since I did this on a new one because I've had like mine set up. So I'm not sure if we need to log in or if it's already logged in for you.
Interesting.
But it's going to tell us in a second. So whatever message it gives.
Yeah,
but you can see those
makes sense.
Those two tests just passed, right? We got our test suites, 2 passed, right?
Cool.
So it can go forward. If not, it would just say like one test is errored and
it would stop.
Go fix it. It would probably keep going, but it would never actually export. It would just go. It would keep going and do other stuff maybe, and then just go right. Well, I gave up because you had a test that was perfect.
Got it.
Okay, so we did good. So we are, 2 components were tagged, and the first version for the components, UI button now has 0.01. If we go
Right.
to our local server, not the bit dev, but the local one,
Yep.
we should now have a version.
There it is.
Right?
1 minute ago.
Now we haven't
and-
exported. We still haven't not exported, right? Because
Okay.
tagging is just creating your versions. Exporting is where it sends it to the cloud or to NPM or to wherever you want to export it to. Tagging is just creating versions. You can keep this running local. You can have 100 versions before you even export. Right?
Got it. Yeah, makes sense.
So when I'm developing, sometimes I don't export because I'm still trying to figure things out, naming, where I start moving things around, and then when you
Right.
export, it's kind of more complicated, and you can deprecate things and stuff. So
Right.
and you can see this S, which means the staged components.
Nice. Okay, cool.
So yeah, now we have those, and we're going to export them. So we're going to run bit export. Now this is probably not going to work.
So this is like a git push kind of like.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, or what?
There it
yeah.
is.
So an unexpected network error explained. So please make sure that you're logged into BitDev.
Cool.
So we need to log in. So bit login.
All right. Nice. That was fantastic.
Okay. So now we go back.
Right. So
You've successfully added bit as a scoped registry in the users, blah, 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 npm or C, success. And now we can try bit export.
That was such a breeze. That was really, really nice.
I hope there's not another thing we need to do. There might be, but I don't remember. Because like I did this 6 months ago and I haven't done it since. Once you do it, that's it.
Yeah.
Right, we've done it. We did it. We exported. Now you can go.
So I can go to my dashboard or something. There it is, from my network, my button, and my CTA. Look at my CTA card.
Yeah, so and you can put that link in the chat, and other people can actually open that and see it.
Can they? Yeah. So here, I'll grab this. Here you go, chat. Check out my sweet CTA card. Yeah, and they can also play around with it, right? Where they can go and change. Oh, interesting.
Yep.
This part's interesting. I didn't expect this. But
yeah, because you never changed the documentation. You didn't change. I gave you demo stuff, and you didn't update the documentation. You just used my documentation.
Yeah.
Like you were a lazy developer who just used what was given to you, and you just exported it. And
Debbie, I made it clear what kind of a show you were coming on to. All right, I was not putting on any airs. And
the product manager is coming along again. This is not the right documentation. But at the end of the day, this is just text, so it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So you can it's just an example. So you can put whatever you want. But you can really see like labels. You put label 1, label 2. You didn't change those. You could have put better labels.
But that can be now to better label each component. That's really handy.
Yeah, you can put like UI because they're used for searching and stuff. So it's kind of like So now we're going to try and quickly add that into a website. Do you have a website you want to add that beautiful
that CTA card? That's going right to the front page of Front End Horse for sure.
Let's do it.
Absolutely want that on the front page. All right, cool. So we're going to.
So this time we want to use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not developing. We want to use.
Right. So we want to go here.
Yeah, and you can like. And it's not a bit project, right? Are you using npm or yarn in your project?
Wait. Is this?
Oh, I went too far.
No. This is up on Yarn right now?
No. So it's not. You're not going to find it on npm or Yarn.
Okay.
It's because it's like in the bit cloud. We didn't put it into npm, but we use the npm registry to be able to install because Bit is not a package manager, so it needs to use the powers of npm or Yarn to be able to install those packages, right?
Okay, yeah. So that's what I was expecting, like something like this to configure that as a scoped registry. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I would have been shocked and confused if that was already up there. But yeah, so we can use Bit to install it. Or I'm using Yarn on this project.
Because you don't have Bit installed. You could use it, but then you'd have to initialize Bit into your other project, and we don't need to do that. So we can use npm Yarn. You said you're using Yarn, so we can use Yarn to install it into a React app or whatever app that you have. And we probably do need to configure as a scoped registry, but we'll because
Okay.
I think you have to do that, don't you? Like you just like, yeah, you just copy that and it sets it into your whatever file.
Do I just? Oh, so I paste that into. So I'll
The
open a
terminal.
front end horse repo. Front end horse. Just pop that in here, or does it not really matter where
Yeah, yeah.
this?
No, it's just,
Okay,
yeah, just in there. It's fine. It's just setting into your npm or c file. Isn't that the file that it does it
got it.
into or whatever? It just adds that in there. So it
Okay,
knows where
cool.
to look when you're doing that. That's all.
Got it.
So yarn, copy your yarn add.
All right, let me just make sure I am using yarn. Yep, yarn, cool.
Yeah.
Yarn add. Term yarn is not. Yeah, see, something got broken with my like code and all that kind of stuff. Whatever we ran seems to have
Oh, I broke your
broken
system.
something.
Just you can use npm for here because it's
No, I mean, like, I think it's gonna be. Oh, why does npm work? But then npm is gonna make it funky where I don't know if the site's gonna build right. You know what I mean?
it will. It just because you're just installing, it's fine. You just get a package lock and a yarn lock, and then you can just like delete the package lock, and then it'll be all
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. I'm not worried about
Just lock
long
files.
term or anything.
We're just gonna break your site live on air.
That's fine. I've done it many times on air before. That's the main. That's what we do on Fridays here. We
Yeah,
debug my site.
but yeah, we'll look into what was added into the file and why your shortcodes are not working or why
Yeah,
yarn. That's weird. I've never
yeah,
seen that
because
before actually.
code
Because
also
mine work,
broke.
but mine work.
Yeah,
Windows.
I don't.
Maybe it's a Windows thing. Gotta
Yeah,
blame Windows.
I think it broke something in Windows. Yeah, like where what is it actually doing? Let me actually look at those docs. Installing bit, the Windows thing,
It,
set
if
path
you
local
click on
app data.
the there's a link to the BVM that's going to actually give you more information about like um
This is the BVM guide.
what it's doing. Yeah.
Got it. I'll check that out. Cool. So we installed it, and yeah, we installed everything else too. So that should be good.
So
Um,
now we
import
can
it.
use it in whatever component you want to import it to.
Curious what Gatsby. Yeah, so Gatsby's even gone. Everything's gone. Um,
Wow. So cool.
yeah, I don't know. Not sure how to run this site at this point. And we might not
Oh,
be. Yeah. I don't know how
oh,
to.
it broke. Wow. We
Yeah. So
broke
not.
Gatsby, we broke yarn.
Yeah.
Um,
It's interesting. npm ig the Gatsby CLI, I think. Just going off memory is always the best way to install things. There's no way that someone else
very
grabbed the
interesting.
Gatsby CLI thing and
Didn't
corrupted
your
it.
Windows Dev break last week? Did it break last week too?
I haven't had this before now. I haven't had this.
Okay.
That's where I'm like, uh-oh, I don't remember how to fix the like. I'm not good enough with those kinds of like aliases in
Yeah.
specific files somewhere on my file system. I don't know the like that kind of depth. Yeah, shoot, it's just gone. All right, well, I don't know if we want to debug that uh on air
Well,
for yeah.
what is the actual Gatsby install command?
Yeah, let's see if we can
If not, we can just create React app.
Gatsby, how it works.
I'm just not too familiar with Gatsby, so I don't know the command.
Documentation. Here we go. All right, so quick start. Init npm init Gatsby, got that. cd my Gatsby site npm run develop. Where's the install?
Yeah, but
thing?
you don't have the
Yeah, you guys gonna run Gatsby develop. Wait, is that working now? Okay, weird.
That's
I
weird.
guess because it's run through np. All right, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. We need a happyclicks.dev, but of bugs, happybugs.dev. That's perfect. All right, so we are making progress. Good. Uh, so if we look,
So that means we can see the app, right? So now we just need to
should be able to.
put,
Yeah,
should be able to.
yeah,
So we need to put the component in here.
yeah. So import CTA. I think it's CTA card, right? CTA card from Tros codes. There we go. So now, what's this complaining about? From expected.
Because you forgot the no.
Looks good to me. I don't know. Might just be a weird. It might be using all my memory here. I have this annoying thing where I have to cancel it if it gets stuck there. It's a Windows 10 and Gatsby thing. Apparently,
Oh.
we need.
Oh, now it's happy.
Yeah, but this is like opposite colors.
Weird colors. That's kind of
What
funny.
is
I like
going
it
on?
though.
That's just
Visual
bizarre.
Studio Code is just
Yeah. All right, we're getting there, people. We're getting there. CTA cards.
yeah.
We're gonna need some text, and this is gonna be fun stuff. Now I'm curious because I'm gonna bring this up real quick. CTA card, did it? Oh yeah, I hard coded the button text. Okay, so that's fine.
Exactly. Yeah,
Got it. I
yeah.
was wondering about
Otherwise,
that.
you should have passed in as a prop, and then you would have
Right.
been able to. But
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
important for this demo.
All right, we got a local host. Let's see how that's looking.
Okay, and I have no idea if this works in a Gatsby app because I've never even tried it. So yeah, it does. There
Yeah,
you go.
it worked perfect. My thing's a little big. But yeah, there it is. And that's not style just because it's being like wiped out. Like all the styles are being wiped out. I have to add some styles to that. But that's exactly what we expect. This is the markup. There's my styles coming in. And yeah, we were able to just import it just like that. This bit is not related, I don't think. Yeah, that's not related. I think that's something
Yeah.
else.
Webpack something.
Yeah, it looks like it's Lodash config. I don't know. I was working on something earlier, so I think it's related to whatever's going on there, maybe. But it's not a bit thing. But this, yeah. So we were able to create these components over here in isolation,
Yeah.
and get this really cool development environment. Push it up to bit.dev in order to host these components, and then like manage them as my apps. And because like I've got a couple sites now. I've got like my personal one, right? I've got a few, and having
Mhm.
that single button that I can pull into all my sites and not have to like, I just made a new button over the weekend because that's what you do, right? But now I can just kind of import my own button. I know how it works. It's, as tested as I'm going to make it. And yeah, like because I can push it up to bit, I can pull it in real easily, and then pop it in to pretty much any project, right? Or any React project.
Any React
That
project,
yeah,
exactly.
that matches
Yeah.
that same sort of thing. That's really cool. I love
Yeah.
the workflow. I love this environment. I love all these things that we get. The test tab, the dependencies tab to kind of see this very simple dependency, but as it gets more complex, that's super helpful.
Yeah, and you can
Yeah.
you can modify that button, add some styles to it, export it. Actually, do you have time?
Yeah.
Okay, let's add some styles to that button because it's really, or just do something or change
Okay,
something in the
cool.
button to create a new version of it. Just to
Yeah.
kind of export a new version, so you'll be able to see like how easy it is to do that. So in the bit project.
Hold on one sec. Arosmena. I don't want the. Is there a mod in here? I don't, Arosmena. I don't think you like need to be banned, but I'm not sure if you're shilling or what. I don't know. Could a trusted member of the community give me a heads up of what to do there? Sorry, just want to make sure it like sometimes when people spam or whatever, it's like very obvious. I don't think this one's spam, but I can't tell. Cool. So we're gonna add some styles to that button, right? Button
Yeah. So, or
composition.
just whatever you want to do to the button, just so we make a change to the button, because I want to show you
Right.
how it affects the card.
So Aaron, it's not like this person's coming from CodePen and asking for advice on their CodePen. It's just someone advertising their thing, not related. Style, because that we can get rid of. Background color. Yeah, let's go. You know, let's take the wheel, co-pilot.
Let's yeah. Don't you love that? It's like,
Love it.
this is
Love
what
it.
Copilot wants.
Love it.
Perfect, done.
And yeah, that's what it
Lovely.
wants. I'm gonna actually swap this out for let me some Dodger Blue. Cool.
Nice.
We didn't need to make it hideous, right? Like we didn't need to make it bad.
But Copilot just really did, like, Copilot just really did just guide us in the right direction. I love it. I can't live without it now.
Yeah, when it comes to like default stuff, it rocks for just like, you know, just I'm just trying to whip together some styles. It's fantastic for that.
Yeah.
All right, so we go bit tag, no, bit.
Yep.
Bit tag.
Yeah.
I have to specify though, right?
I have to say well, you can run bit status, right? And you can see what's happening to your components. Right, it's just gone a little bit blurry for me. So you can see like that the UI button, and you can run bit diff, and it's going to show you the difference between the previous and the other one. And it's cool. It's going to show you that this was added, right?
That's what's changed.
And
nice.
If you scroll up a little bit, you can see that it said that the components pending view tab automatically when their dependencies are tagged. So the CTA card is going to be tagged automatically when the button is tagged.
It's great because
it depends on it.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's in your workspace, right? So they are working together. So they rely on each other. So you need to do that. So yeah, you can do bit tag. Yeah, you can just do bit tag all. Even if you tag the button, the other one's going to get tagged anyway. So I always just bit tag all, because it only tags the ones that need to be tagged.
Nice. So it's kind of like kind of like add asterisk or whatever, where it's gonna grab everything. I'm thinking of Git
that
or like
needs that needs it, but it maybe you're working on one component that you haven't finished and you don't want it, and that's when it's nice to kind of say, hey, you know.
Absolutely. Cool. So tag all message, update button styles. No worries, Rosa. We just get links sometimes, and they're not typically, you know, they're usually spammy. So yeah, when I see a link in chat, I tend to think that it's going to be something not on the up and up. Sorry, I cut you off, Debbie.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, so this is running those tests again, making sure they pass before it creates that new version. And then basically, you're going to have a new version of that button and a new version of the CTA card that uses the new button.
Right.
And like, obviously, like, it's easy, right? You saw how easy that was to just export a new version. So if you're ready to export it, you can export it. If you're not, you can obviously see it in development first and check it. But here we're fine. We're on 0.02. You could use patch commands and all of these other things. If you wanted minor, major, you could put those in, and you can create a major version. If you had a breaking change, that's all. SEM rules are all the same.
Cool.
So yeah, did you export?
I stopped because I wasn't sure if you were going to give me a flag or something to do. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't.
No flags in export. Yeah, cool. You're good. I think the only flags, and I have never worked with this, is when you're doing it on CI/CD and all that kind of stuff. That's all kind of a bit hardcore for me. That it goes on, like, you know, automatically when you're doing, you know, Git pushes and stuff. So now we didn't even see if this we didn't even check to see what it
I
looked like.
didn't
But there
need
you
to.
go.
We trusted Copilot with my life. Take the wheel, Copilot. You're in charge now. I should have really made this not right next to each other, but oh well.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we
Oh
we
well.
only we only changed the button in fairness, so that's all we did, and we can see already that it's updated it inside our CTA card. This is up on bit.dev. It's that blue. It's that lovely Dodger blue.
And how
Can't
quick,
get enough.
right? How quick was
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that was fantastic.
And you can see you've got 02, so you can go back to 01 and you can see the difference between it if you ever
Right.
wanted to like go
That's
back.
not what I meant to do. I meant to do this. Yeah, so you can go back to 001, and we can see just how awful, awful 001 was. That was the
And
worst time of my life. But now,
that's when you can ask for a pay rise. You can say, look, I brought version 1 to
look
version
at
2, and
look at my
I need more
impact, boss.
money.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so nice. And then they go, did Copilot do this? And I go, yeah.
We should have put that in the comment message.
Yeah. Okay, so now how do I get that over to my site? I'm not expecting it to be here because
Yeah, you want it to be there. So you need to go into the Gatsby site,
right,
and if you look at your package
packages.
JSON, is it a package JSON in Gatsby?
Yep,
Yeah. So you should have this package in here,
here it is. Yeah, it's CTA card.
right?
Yeah, and it's
And it's at
001.
0.01.
Yeah,
So you just need to like install the new version. So you could install it with the at 0.02, for example. Yeah, that should work.
oh, no,
And
no, no, no,
other,
no. I typo 0. There we go. 0.02. I put 0.
yeah, it went a bit blurry, so I couldn't really see.
Yeah, it's
I
all
was like
good.
this. I'm like, oh, can I see?
I typed exactly
um,
what you said. I put 0.02 rather than 0.0.2. So I tend to
yeah,
do that where I just like you could just tell me to type anything and it gets in my terminal. Not it's why I only bring on people I trust. I can't afford to have you just say like RM your C drive. There you go. Hit enter and you're gone. Um,
so there was an error or something. I can't see what happened there very well.
yeah, trying to.
Oh, that looked weird. It looks weird, does it, or something? Something I can't really see.
No
Gone a bit
matching
blurry for me.
version found for that. Oh, wait, did I botch it again? Let me, should I just at latest?
Yeah, I can do it latest. Otherwise, you can also just modify the package JSON
Yeah, I
and
can
then
just
install.
pop in
But it
that too.
might take longer because sometimes it's like you've got too many things you got to install.
Right. Oh, thank you, Zane. Appreciate it. Yeah. It makes the room a little bit more fun. A little more fun. I appreciate that. Okay, we're still getting an error. Interesting. Huh. See what our package JSON says. Let's just go to and then run npmi. Let's see if.
Yeah, I've actually never done this before.
Okay.
I normally just modify the package JSON and do it. But I think in Bit it does give you the what the thing is, but I need to play around with it more. No, there's something wrong.
From argument must be of type string received undefined.
What's that about?
Debug log. Where's that? PM cache logs. I don't know. It's way out there.
You could just uninstall and reinstall it. Wouldn't that just work? But I don't know why. It could be something with your npm thing. Like, I mean, that definitely exists, right?
I mean, we
like we saw it on BitDev. We exported it, didn't we? It was
right,
on
and
BitDev.
we're using it right now. npm I. Oh, sorry, I meant to say uninstall.
Yeah, just because otherwise it's got a node module. It's going to get a bit crazy and not be happy. But no, there's something wrong with your system.
Yeah, I think we might have killed it for the day. I think
Yeah,
I think we might be
it's not a
good.
bit thing. This is a
This is oh, I didn't mean to click that.
unfortunately.
It's a local development thing at this point. Yeah, so I think that's a good place to wrap up. Anyone have any
Yeah.
questions or anything for Debbie? Debbie, this is so cool. I really appreciate you coming on to walk us through this because it's
A
one of
lot.
those things where like if you just kind of like get a piece of it here or there, you don't kind of see the whole picture. So like being able to sit with you and kind of get shown all these features and to see what you've built with it and to see those dependency graphs between your base UI, your e-commerce and all the shops and all the different packages really kind of brought that into focus and made me see like, okay, this is the like Amit in the chat asked about like, can it be used for a big project? Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
But then just did this example um, made it clear that, yeah, you know what, this is really useful for just my own stuff so that I'm not doing that copy paste thing.
Yeah.
And then I go back to, an older library and I go, oh, right, I've changed this button since then. Right. Like, how did this diverge and how I have to paste this over now? Like, I've sadly done that because pushing it to NPM is not it's either not easy or I'm intimidated by it or
And it's not
something in the middle.
manageable as well. It's hard to manage because as you can't find them. Like you can see like how easy it is to see the components, to find them. If you click on the gallery, you're gonna have those two
Yeah.
components. You can also search and search button and find how many. If you had 10 buttons, you would have all these button one, button whatever. I don't know. Why
Yeah.
would you want 10 buttons? That would be crazy, but you can.
I
Um,
probably have 10 buttons, so don't even yeah, it's fine. That's gonna be me.
and the great thing is, like you've just seen, that you can just start with one component that we're reusing. You don't have to convert your whole app.
Yeah.
Your app is still working fine, and just take that one component and then reuse that one, and then maybe you find another one that you're reusing, and then slowly, like just reuse. But you don't have to actually put all the components up there. And you could
Right.
also like initialize bit inside that Gatsby project if you wanted to. I mean, you don't have to, but you could. You
Oh,
just run
cool.
bit in it, and you'd have the workspace in there, so you'd be able to import that component, so you wouldn't have to open up another VS Code. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and you'd be able
Yeah.
to do that as well. So there's many possibilities. We need to document a
I
lot more. We're working on that. Yeah.
I might end up doing that. I was trying to get Storybook running with my Gatsby project. It was not working. I might have to go with I'll see if I can get this up and running, and I will be bothering you if not.
Yeah, use the bit init command, and that creates it, initialize the new repo inside your actual project.
That's really cool. And then I don't need to create new components because they're already there. I can just add them the way that we added that button back after we accidentally removed it from the bitmap.
Yeah, like so you'd have a new one. So this one is here, right? That's in it. That's in. You'd have to create the new one inside Gatsby, but you don't have to. You could create it outside and still use it. But if you want to create it inside, you're creating a new workspace.
Yeah. So yes.
So
Sorry.
you'd have to create a new
I
button.
meant not bit create each button because I already have the button there, but bit add.
No, but it's in.
Oh,
No, it's somewhere else. That button lives somewhere else
got
in a
it.
different
Okay.
like repo kind of.
Got it. Okay. I was thinking I
You'd be
can.
setting up an Yeah, you'd be setting up a new workspace in here. So it would be, it's not, it doesn't know, because you can have 100 workspaces. I mean, I have 100 workspaces on my computer. I
Right.
have one in a Create React app. I've got one in another app. I've got like the shoot source in another one. So you can have as many different workspaces as you want. So if you initialize one here, you're initializing a new one. And
Yeah.
then if you want to use that component, you're gonna have to create that component again because it doesn't exist. It's in another place.
Okay. Okay.
Or
So,
you can import it, and that's a different kind of stuff. That's a
but like,
different
can
thing.
I turn this event card without having? I'll have to go through the process of making like a new
Yeah,
one and then
so
porting over the
you have to
code.
so you'd have to do like
Yeah.
bit create UI, or where is this bit create event
Right.
card, and then just like change that code in the TSX file or JSX file, whatever file,
Right.
to be the event card. Create the tests. You can delete the test if you don't want to create tests. You could just delete the test file, and then you've got no test. If you want to do it quick and dirty, it's fine, but you shouldn't. You should write tests. And yeah, then you're ready to go. So you do have to do like a minor modification to the code because you've
Yeah.
got to like take it from one, put it in the other. But I mean, you saw it's super simple because it's just
Right.
React and React, right?
That's awesome. Awesome. And Manny, in the chat, great to see you. So sorry that you came in so late and missed for a class that didn't even happen today. That's such a bummer. This was honestly, check out Bit. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Amit is still here, and he says looks great. We really need to use it in our company. Yeah, it seems like a really great component-based workflow. I think with the advent of React and Vue and all these other modern JavaScript libraries, frameworks, whatever you want to call them, component-driven development has just only gotten bigger and bigger, and obviously um, more popular for very good reasons. And this makes it really simple, especially across big companies like this, or not like this, like Amit's. But yeah, thank you so much, Debbie.
Yeah. And if you just like quickly open the website just for a second, or the documentation,
Yeah.
just so people know where to go next. So like the docs are here. Again, we're working on them. Expect better docs are coming soon. So forgive us for that. Docs are always hard work. But we have, if you go to resources on the top. Yeah, so we've got, like, you can see the demos are there. There's conference talks, right? You can watch interviews, you can watch podcasts, live streams,
Nice.
articles. The community's there as well. The demos are all my demo projects. You can just go and clone it. I didn't put it in the menu. Sorry. If you go into the resources in the top menu, I think it's there.
What is that? Oh, the demos.
At the top.
Cool.
At the top. Yeah. So that'll go to the
Perfect.
demo projects there, and in the README, you've got all the GitHub links, and you can like, play around with those and like git clone them. Just break my buttons, break my code. Use it. It's all free. It's all open source, like completely. If you want to improve it, make a pull request. I'm quite happy to accept improvements to this project as well. Like totally cool. If you wanted to add a component to, just like, go ahead, just play around. And yeah, if you have any questions, we have GitHub discussions. You can go there if you want to find out how to export to npm, for example. That's on GitHub discussions in the repo. We also have a community Slack channel, and you can go in there and you can start chatting to us and ask us questions if you get stuck, and say, hey, this is not working. Like, how can I fix this? We're always here. We check the Slack channel regularly, and we're always around, and all feedback is very, very welcome. So yeah, there's a button there at the top. Join us on Slack if you wanted to.
Nice.
And yeah, like, we're here for anything. So check it out, use it. And there's also, if you're doing it on a company level, if you have like some sort of big company that you wanted to use it for, or small company that you wanted to use it for, and you wanted to chat with a sales team to get to know like what are the benefits of the BitCloud and all that kind of enterprise stuff, then you can do that and set that up with the sales team. And you can have a free 30-minute call, and we can like assess everything and go through everything architectural level and tell you if it's actually going to help you or not before you actually invest a lot of time into it. So
cool.
Yeah, lots of options there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Debbie. Before we go, I do want to say that, Debbie, I'm not sure if you are familiar, but we have a show here called Component Carousel that happens most Wednesdays. And in past Twitch shows, in past episodes, Amit, who's in the chat, was just on. Well, I shouldn't say just on. We took off August, but he was on a few weeks back and built this game on stream with us, and
Nice.
showed us how to do this with just JavaScript and CSS. You see those buildings exploding? That's all happening with CSS. So we build out fun components around a theme, and it's starting up again for tomorrow. And so this month's theme is Space B&B. So instead of Airbnb, now you can go throughout the galaxy. And so here's another one. Wait, where's this was from Tom Miller, who came on and built this with us. Is this? Oh, it's a horizontal scroll. So as you scroll horizontally, you can click and
very cool.
Yeah, so we
and
make super fun components. Yeah. So tomorrow this is past shows. Tomorrow is the first of this month of Component Carousel. We have Ryan Labar, fantastic developer from Elegant Seagulls, a really, really skillful agency. And we also have Ilithia, who makes gorgeous shaders, and
Nice.
Luis Bizarro, who works at Active Theory, and he just did easily like wonderful with 3JS and just cool interactive things. So we have a really, really
Very
packed
cool.
month. Great people on coming on this whole month every Wednesday. Make sure you are here if you're not already following chat. Drop a follow because these get really, really fun. I have some super
This is
talented creative
amazing.
developers. Yeah, it's going to be a great time. It's just a really fun show. Hey Wafi, how you doing? You didn't arrive late. You arrived just on time, but unfortunately, we are at the end of the broadcast. So once again, Debbie, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for teaching us all about Bit. And yeah, make sure you follow Debbie on Twitter if you are not already. And yeah, please drop a follow,
Yeah.
and we will see you tomorrow. 2:00 my time, basically a half hour ago.
I always do that. I always say my time. And
Yeah, I
everyone just
mean,
has to go with my time.
well, it's really hard to be like, Wafi, it is 3:00 your time, and Manny, it's 1:00 your time. It's my
Yeah.
time. You can check out the Front End Horse.
But I love that if you click the link, it opens it up and tells you what time it is in your time. So then it's like, cool.
That bit's very helpful. Yes. So, and yeah, give Debbie some confetti as we head out. Thank you again, Debbie. And yeah, we will see you tomorrow.
This
It's
is
going to be
great,
a whole
Alex.
lot of
Thank
fun.
you so much for having me.
I appreciate it. Yeah, there you go, confetti. Cool. Well, take care. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Hang in there.
See
We're
you,
going to find
everyone.
somebody to raid. I'll see you later.